I don't even know if this is man real daughter.
What?
I don't even know. I don't know nothing about this. I have no comment to make, but I know a lot of y'all know about this.
What?
Is this R. Kelly's daughter? And do y'all believe her?
What?
Do y'all believe that R. Kelly touched on his own daughter?
4NoFame. There's a brother out there, his page is the number 4, the word no, and then the word fame all together. He does content like this, but I think the brother could benefit from my books.
Here's Marquavius Nichols on the left and Shannon Stillwell, arrested for the murder of Shamel Drinks. Harvey isn't there to argue body cam of the arrest.
Yeah, he's going out to Cleveland Avenue exit. All right, he's making a right turn westbound on Cleveland Avenue.
Okay, again, it's happened westbound on Cleveland.
And again, so everybody knows, it's a white four-door Audi.
So Shannon and Nichols just got out of the car. They're obviously being chased by the police. And when they pull up to this house, whatever the house they're at, apparently in the backyard, they run to the backyard, a goat sacrifice is happening. And I think apparently it's a religious thing. I don't know much about it, but so the body cam probably shows that.
What?
YSL members, allegedly did a hit. Then when they, escaping or whatever, the helicopters following them, and I guess either they escaped to this house, or I guess maybe they're saying that there's a random and they were just driving to get away and they just randomly pulled up at this house. But what are the odds that they wind up with a goat sacrifice going on?
Peace
like
to
they're
the family.
getting
This
arrested.
is Abdul Ali, candidate for U.S. House District 12 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's just be real, folks. The Democrats have destroyed our major cities. Their policies have made us less safe. They've given us less economic opportunity, and they've provided less educational opportunities for our children. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I know what it takes to improve these issues. I've got great working relationships already in D.C. I've spent the last 10 years of my life building.
My name is Minister EnQi. I am the naturopathic doctor and the spokesman for the Melanin-Verse Diabetes Ministry. Every time you go to the supermarket without the electrician grocery shopping list, it's like putting a loaded gun to your head. Stop playing Russian roulette with your life. Help us make America great again.
That's the algorithm.
With me? Oh, I love Satan. I love that lowdown. Hey, I gotta love you. You see what happened? With me? Oh, I love Satan. I love that lowdown. Hey, I gotta love you. You see what? With me? Oh, I love Satan. I love that lowdown. Hey, I gotta love you. You see what happened? With me? Oh, I love Satan. I love that lowdown. Hey, I love you. You see what happened?
Myron! Myron! What? What are you doing? What you doing?
What you talking about? What am I doing?
You reading them nasty books again, right, Myron?
Nobody read no nasty books, man. You scared the hell out of me. What you talking about, man? Well, I ain't did that in about 2 weeks.
You called yesterday 2 weeks. What you reading? What you reading?
You scared the goddamn book, man. Dr. EnQi. I went on Amazon and got 3 Dr. EnQi books because I'm reading about melatonin and biology.
I don't even know if this is man real daughter.
What is Myron?
I don't even. That's the algorithm. I don't know nothing about this. I have no comment to make, but I know a lot of y'all know about this.
What?
Is this R. Kelly's daughter? And do y'all believe her?
What?
Do y'all believe that R. Kelly touched on his own daughter?
4NoFame. There's a brother out there, his page is the number 4, the word no, and then the word fame all together. He does content like this, but I think the brother could benefit from my books.
Here's Marquavius Nichols on the left and Shannon Stillwell, arrested for the murder of Shamel Drinks. Harvey isn't there to argue body cam of the arrest.
Yeah, he's going out to Cleveland Avenue exit. All right, he's making a right turn westbound on Cleveland Avenue.
Okay, again, it's happened westbound on Cleveland.
And again, so everybody knows, it's a white four-door Audi.
So Shannon and Nichols just got out of the car. They're obviously being chased by the police. And when they pull up to this house, whatever house they're at, apparently in the backyard. They run to the backyard, a goat sacrifice is happening. And I think apparently it's a religious thing. I don't know much about that, but so the body cam probably shows that.
YSL members allegedly did a hit. Then when they, escaping or whatever, the helicopter's following them, and I guess either they escaped to this house, or I guess maybe they're saying that there's a random and they were just driving to get away and they just randomly pulled up at this house. But what are the odds that they wind up with a goat sacrifice going on? Like they're getting arrested with a goat sacrifice. After they just did a sacrifice, they wind up going to a sacrifice. You have got to be kidding me. You just cannot make this up. You just cannot make this up. Okay? And as a Haitian, I'm going to say there are spots and spaces where maybe you shouldn't jump to a conclusion when you see something like this going on. But for the little overall purpose in the conversation that we're having, bruh, you people that believe that it's just, you go to the studio, you make a song, you put it on the radio, and then you collect a check. Y'all are very confused.
Apparently, this co-defendant, Shannon S.B. Stillwell, got busted on murder charges back in March of 2022. But here's the kicker. He was arrested during a religious ceremony involving the sacrifice of goats. What? Yeah, you heard me right. Goats. What? Man, so during one of Thug's co-defendants' arrests, they found some wild stuff. A so-called religious ceremony involving the sacrifice of goats. What? Yeah, you heard that right again. Goats. Prosecutors are claiming this co-defendant, SB, is also part of the YSL group, just like Thugger. Now, Thug's lawyers are arguing that talking about this goat sacrifice won't do any good and could mess with the jurors' heads.
Get that book. Go get that book. I'm telling you, you want that book. Go get that book. You better go get 10 copies of that shit. Go back to the Muslim. Go back to the church. Go get that book. Want some people want them to turn away from the church back to God. Go get 100 copies of that book.
About baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Is that okay? Do you forgive somebody for taking somebody's ass? There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality, they're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize? Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Is that okay? Do you forgive somebody for taking somebody's ass? There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality, they're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize?
Do you help? What?
Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now.
Hold on. How do you help? Yo, listen,
I'm asking the real question. How do you help? I don't even understand the nature of that question. What do you mean? In order to offer help, you got to be there when the drug is being mixed up, when the drug is being served, or when the deal is being done. So I don't know what you mean. Trying to figure this out. Listen, share this video right now. We got a handful of folk. Share this video because we getting ready to go. Now remember, we already done built up to a crescendo in terms of Germany with what? Listen, now how many ways did we link Germany to this situation? Think about this. How much ways did we deal with Germany so far? How many ways did we deal with Germany so far? Right? What we got going on with Germany? Come on now. What do we got going on with the German people today? Damn, where the hell's my markers? Yo, if I act like I ain't got no markers, Osborne would literally pop out of my closet and hand me a marker. Osborne is the GOAT. All right. Let's just grab us a new marker. Okay. So what do we got going on with Germany? I don't like this marker. All right, I'm going to find my other marker because I'm not feeling this. This is supposed to be brand new out of the pack, and that doesn't feel good. All right, so we got the music, what? We got the music tech. We have the music money, the banks. What else we got? We got the sex rituals. Right? We got the sex rituals. What else we got? We got the music. We got the music banks. We got the sex rituals. Oh, excuse me. What I meant was the music tech. Right? We also got the STDs, right? So Germany hot, right? What else we got in Germany? What else did we find in Germany? The very first record label, right? Sugar Hill Gang is a German record label. Sugar Hill Records is a German record label, right? So we got the first record label. See, this is what I'm saying. Listen, I enjoy watching 4NoFame because he's funny. But 4NoFame, you watching this, you missing a lot of info that you could use to go crazy with. Right? I'm not hating. I like your platform. I'm just saying I got a lot of stuff over here, especially in that book, that if you should happen to put your eyeballs on. But we're going to get to some of that today. We're going to continue to get to that and keep bringing it out. We're going to bring it out. Right? All right, so we got a lot going on with Germany, no? Right? Y'all awake over there? What y'all doing? Y'all sleep in the chat already? Is everybody sleep besides Alex asking me for tracking numbers? I want y'all to get this. Listen, see, y'all missing it. Look, Ray J is coming out now making a statement, right? But y'all forget, or maybe y'all didn't forget, but you know that Ray J got famous from a sex ritual, a PDF file sex ritual. Excuse me. Remember, Ray J and Kim Kardashian made that sex tape together, and it was Kim Kardashian parents, adults, that was filming Ray J and Kim Kardashian. They filmed them having sex, and then they took the tape
and negotiated the contracts with the company that released the video to the public so they could get their money and keep the rights. Y'all listening? Ray J and Kim K comes onto the scene with that, right? So remember, we just finished talking about Kanye and the cave and the this and the that and the blah, 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 blah. So we still going crazy, right? I want y'all to check my man. Listen, now I don't care what Ray J say. This shit is hilarious to me. This is the funny. He's talking about, do you chuckle? Absolutely. No. Matter of fact, no, we don't chuckle. We totally have a wild, gut-busting laugh from the center of our diaphragm. Damn it. That is the funniest statement that I have heard so far throughout this whole thing. Asses are being taken in ways nobody can understand. Wait, what did he say? Let me play this shit some more time. This shit is the craziest shit I ever heard right here.
Do you laugh? Do you help?
Do
you criticize? Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Is that okay? Do you forgive somebody for taking somebody's ass? There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality. They're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize? Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Is that okay? Do you forgive somebody for taking somebody's ass? There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality. They're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize? Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Is that okay? Do you forgive somebody for taking somebody's ass? There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality. They're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize? Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Is that okay? Do you forgive somebody for taking somebody's ass? There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality. They're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Asses are being taken in ways that no.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I listen, I was a little childish right there. Listen, I'm due for a little free time, just pure recreation. Recreation is chaos, right? Creating chaos for enjoyment. That's what recreation is. Okay. So I'm due just a little bit. You know, my name is EnQi. Okay. So EnQi, yes, does mean the god of water, but EnQi is also the god of mischief. So I have to have a little bit of
I had to have a little bit of mischief. You understand what I'm saying? A little bit of mischief. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that I just thought that was crazy. Listen. Hopefully everything works out. Like Akon said it the best. Akon said he's praying for everybody, all parties that are involved with this. And you know what? I double down on that. I am praying for Puff Daddy. All right. I'm praying for everybody, the victims, the enablers, but I'm also praying for Puff Daddy the same way I pray for Polite, the same way I pray for all of these lost souls to hopefully find their way while they're still alive, make atonement, do something with with the rest of your life to try to make up for what you've done. Or, I mean, you can never make up for, but see, you can't even, asses are being taken in ways nobody can imagine, damn it. That's all you can say.
From its very beginnings, rap music was founded and influenced by organized crime, and I don't mean BMF, I mean the Italians and their Jewish underlings. Sugar Hill Records, home of the first hit rap song, Rapper's Delight, got cash protection and orders from an investor named Morris Levy, who owned the infamous Roulette Records and was the Genovese crime family's man in the music industry.
This is the man.
Okay. So y'all see where we left off, and this Al Prophet thing started up. Now, mind you, when we did our video, I hadn't seen this Al Prophet thing. I just got hit. I just saw the first few minutes of this while I was walking my dog. So I'm out walking my dog, and I guess because of the content, that jumps onto my timeline, and I click it. And the moment he goes, yeah, the crooked music industry, blah, 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 Sugar Hill Records. Stop. I said, oh, yeah, that part, that part. Like, yeah, that part. We'll start the next class with that. Because I don't know where he's going to go, but I know wherever he goes, we're going to clean him up. Right? And not clean him up like he's incorrect. We're just going to add missing details. Now, think about this. Al Prophet is one of the most thorough guys on the internet when documenting shit, right? So how do I know that I know something that he don't know even before the video starts? Listen, if you had the book, you would not think that was me being arrogant. If you don't have the book, you're like, EnQi, yeah, that's because you arrogant, EnQi. You just think you know it all. If you get the book, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I see where you're going with this, Hank. Yeah, I see what you're going with this. It's safe to assume if you got that book, you know just a few things that niggas don't. It don't even matter who it is. You're going to know. Let's get back to this thing here. So we starting with Sugar Hill Records. Remember, first record label, German company, right? Sugar Hill Records is owned by BMG. So that's where we going with this, right? Now, remember, we also discussed Madame Blavatsky and the chakra-rich sexual rituals, because all of these sex rituals come down from the same origin, right? So when we talk about the sex rituals, remember, Madame Blavatsky and her crew grabbed the chakra system and merged their satanic sex rituals with the chakra system. Boom. And passed that down to the LSD-driven hippie movement, which that LSD hippie movement becomes part of the conscious movement. So the conscious movement is an offshoot of the hippie movement, at least part of it, right? That's the thing you got to understand. The conscious community has roots in a lot of different places. The conscious community is not one group. The conscious community is a bunch of groups. And just until very recently, none of those groups would take you calling them a conscious community member as respectful. Like that'd be disrespect for you to call Hebrew Israelites conscious community niggas. They'd be ready to, you know, same thing with the Muslim brothers, the 5%ers, the Nation of Islam brothers. I ain't no conscious community. No. I'm a health guy. I'm with the holistic folks, end of the day. You see, I ain't conscious community. I'm with the health. So nobody in the health conscious community will actually identify as being in the conscious community. But there's a very strong stream, a throughway from that hippie movement into the conscious community. How did that come in? That came in through Bobby Hemmett and Delbert Blair. Bobby Hemmett and Delbert Blair. Primarily Bobby Hemmett, though. Bobby Hemmett came in with all of the hippie program, you know, the getting high and getting drunk, right? He used to say it literally in front of his lectures. He opens his lectures always drinking liquor to imbibe spirits and then spilling it on the floor to bring the spirits out around him. Like, I used to watch these joints and be like, yo, I can't understand how nobody knows what they're watching. But he used to do these invocations in the room with the people. Anyway, Delbert Blair played around in that space, but he was more into aliens and shit. So that was his thing. You know what I'm saying? Phil Valentine was more like into like ancient conspiracy theories. And, you know, there's places where all the information merges. But Bobby Hemmett was primarily the guy that came in with the alcohol, the drugs, and the sex mixture, and then tied it together as a spiritual system to even say, in order for you to get into heaven, you have to get through the bisexual gatekeepers of heaven. So when you get to heaven's gates, according to Bobby Hemmett is your master teacher. This is your information. In order to cross into the gates of heaven, you have to perform bisexual sex with bisexual men, because there will be bisexual men guarding the gates of heaven, and you have to get into heaven through these bisexual men. This is Bobby Hemmett. This is matter of fact, hold on, because we got time. You know, we don't rush with these. So let's go ahead and find our dear brother Bobby explaining about the bisexual. Hold on, we're gonna find Bobby Hemmett. Bobby Hemmett. Let me see this. Let me see if we find this thing here. Let's find this thing here. Where you at? Where you at, Bobby? Don't try to hide. You know, they got so mad with me, they was deleting Bobby Hemmett videos, Bobby Hemmett fans, because they know what I was doing with them videos. Okay. Let's go.
Talks about the gatekeepers and the gatekeepers in the aspect of the homosexuality, or just say gay. And when you first hear this, you go, oh man, that's some bullshit. But then again, on the other hand, if you just study the history of us just being in this country, some of the people was key in our revolution and liberation was gay or, bisexual. So this means we need to look real close into this type of thing and say, because we're not talking about religion here. Religion, tells you all this. We're not into this right and wrong and do and don't. Because we don't know what a motherfucker do in their bedroom. It's so personal. Mm-hmm. So really, it's really a stupid question for you to try to regulate what a person do in private. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? When you really look at this type of thing, when you really look at this type of thing, and I had to really look at these things, because what we're dealing with now, we're dealing with this goddess, Venus, which is a god of the heart chakra. So they don't deal on.
Now pay attention. I told y'all these lessons that y'all heard from Nature Boy and Pharaoh came from Bobby Hemmett. Remember, I played you the Young Pharaoh video where he said the same thing about the heart chakra. And he said, in order to be a straight man, you have to have a homosexual sexual experience so that your chakras get in a proper alignment. So these guys all putting somehow this anal sex as the prerequisite to move forward with either your manhood or your spirituality or whatever the case may be.
Morality and these social structures, they deal on what motherfucker got the light. And it's interesting here because there's people like it's, and I say let me think about this, because it was Kwame Ture said that the white gays, everything is political with them because they're trying to get a political structure. Because some of our people getting killed with the gay, they said, what do you mean by that? He said, look, we knew that James Baldwin struggled. Right. Because when the shit came down, black people was humane enough to go say, look, does that shit really matter? Mm-hmm. Right. I'm saying, now if you get into this religion, that's mind control. Yeah. You dealing with a doctrine that somebody put there, you know what I'm saying? He said,
now think about the conscious community. How many platforms in the conscious community is dedicated to debunking all concepts of God, whether it's Christian, Israelite, Muslim, Buddhist? Think about how many conscious platforms is dedicated to proving that all concepts of God is fake. So if they're trying to pull you away from following God, what would they say then? They trying to point you to the devil? Of course not, because they're going to tell you the devil don't exist. They're going to tell you to follow yourself. And when you follow yourself, what are you doing? You're being led by what? Instincts, desires, which are, come on now, starts with a T. Temptation.
So that ain't our thing. He said we don't have no problem like that. You see what I'm saying? We went up now, and I said, well, that's interesting. James Baldwin. Byron Rustin. Then Byron Rustin. Gay person did it.
My man tried to give you some gay heroes too. He's funny.
10 years, 15 years before, in the 40s.
If you take any group of people, you're going to have gay people there. Like, there's no way to do that. That's the same as racism in reverse, right? If you go in any subject of greatness, it's going to be a mixture of people. Great writers, you're going to have straight writers, gay writers, fat writers, skinny writers, tall writers, short writers, black writers, white writers. Like, but when you have an agenda, you start to skew the statistics to line it up in a certain type of way.
What is? When it was unheard of, this was before they even killed.
Are Baldwin and Rustin and all those guys, they have other sexual preferences? Absolutely. Did they actually contribute to where we are? Absolutely. Are they great men? Absolutely. If they would accept that title. I don't know if that's respectful or not, but they're definitely great people, put it that way. Right? So that we're not taking that. What we're talking specifically about is Bobby Hemmett. So I don't want anybody to get confused.
Emmett Till. He was going down in the Mississippi and Alabama doing protests, and he had to show them how to go in. This is the man who taught Martin Luther King and them how to go into Alabama, Mississippi, and not get their ass killed.
The Pills still swear by Bobby Hemmett. The only reason why they don't talk about him as much publicly is because of what I've established out here. I can't even say what I was saying because I established it. I was the one who created the line in the sand. Like, hold on. What are you actually promoting out here, champ? You know, because I showed y'all the video the other night where they had Phil Valentine saying the way to open up the pineal gland is to snort cocaine. Like, so we gotta root this shit out. Like, these guys are promoting drug use and sex and all that mixed up together, the same as the industry. And what do these guys want to do? Be in the industry. All of them want to get around the industry, folks. That's why they was all even asking me crazy questions like, hold up. They're like, yo, Ink, hold up, man. Your man Polite is out there in Hollywood. Why you not out there in Hollywood with Polite? I was like, y'all niggas is confused. Look at my track record. This guy got a few dollars and some opportunity, and the first thing he did was left the hood, left the community, and did videos. Y'all don't remember those videos Polite did saying that black folks are animals and all kind of crazy shit? And what did I do? As soon as I got an opportunity to move around, well, I went hood to hood. I go ground zero. I go where the people need me. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm kind of like outside the hood, but not really. Like, not really. Like, not really. 3 blocks over. It's weird how they got Detroit. It's like how you can see how it used to be segregated. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, I'm 7 minutes from 8 Mile. So you know what that is. You know what I'm saying? You got trailer parks on one side and guns and everything on the other side. Like it's, yeah. So down the street, around the corner, yeah, you in the middle of you probably shouldn't be there neighborhood. That's where that is. So totally different ball game. Okay. But you listen to this, you hear him selling you on the idea that it's okay to have these experiences, right? And my thing is, again, that I keep saying over and over and over, if that's something from deep down inside, cool, man, live your life. You only have one. But these are the ultimate con men. And Bobby Hemmett was no better than Puff Daddy. This is what y'all don't understand. It's so many people angry with me for bringing this out in the community. Just like it's people that's going to be mad with the people in the music business that's bringing this out because it's people attached. The same way y'all wondering, Bobby this and this and that. Yeah. Y'all never held these niggas accountable. Y'all never asked any questions about the pills and how come Rich promotes these. Y'all never held these niggas accountable. But y'all want to know, how is Puffy able to do this? And I'm saying to myself, what do you mean, how is he able to do this? You have these guys like handlers creating long lines of people that's waiting to be pushed in that direction because they've already been prepped and they've been made ready. Listen to this video. This is a part of the teachings.
Mm-hmm. And he's a gay man. So you got to look at that and say, well, man, what the Spirit is saying about this? The Spirit is saying, look, this shit here is not about what a person is doing physically. It's about who got the light. So in the Africans, they was talking about the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers, they say, is supposed to be bisexual. And what Malidoma Tomei is saying, and all, it's also in the Voodoo Gnostic workbook. It costs about $400, $500. Get it off the internet now. You can order it. The Voodoo Gnostic workbook. The gatekeepers, and I'm heterosexual.
Stop it.
The gatekeepers, they were saying, was people, because them having the bisexual nature, they were able to see things from another perspective. You see what I'm saying? And so now,
you hear that? The gatekeepers of heaven are literally designated gatekeepers because they're bisexual and they have this alternative view of everything because they're so he's warming you up, right? Because if you want to have this spiritual view, right? If you want to have this spiritual ability and spiritual awakening, like the gatekeepers, you know, he letting you know how you got to do it now.
Coming from religious training and all this other shit like this and all.
Right?
Yes.
Remember, this is the guy that teaches you that your soul is located deep down in your anus. Yeah.
You can find a lot of things to say, I ain't with all that kind of shit. But when you look on the spirit realm and on this realm where they're talking about this new goddess, where it ain't based on what you do physically and how it's based on what your heart is. Then you got to understand that when they talk about that, they're talking about there's a reason why they got them as a certain amount of gatekeepers. And so he talks about those type of things, and I think it's got something to do with a certain mind and energy. And the reason why I say that is this here.
You see? Look, I knew they was going to jump in the chat. Whenever we bring Bobby in, whenever we bring Bobby in, he's talking about, look, listen to this. He meant from an ego perspective, not to judge people with alternative lifestyle. Now watch this. You know how easy that is to debunk? You know how silly that sounds what you just typed in? You know how easy it is to communicate what you just said? He meant from an ego perspective, not to judge people with alternative lifestyles. You know how easy that is to communicate? Watch this. Let me show you. Listen, guys, it's nothing wrong with having an alternative sexual preference. We shouldn't judge them. That's your ego and your arrogance making you believe that you're better than somebody else because of their sexual preference. Do you see how easy and clearly and concise that is to communicate? That has nothing to do with saying that the gatekeepers of heaven have they're specially elected to be gate protectors of heaven. Are you insane? He's saying that they're elected to be the protectors of heaven's gate because they're bisexual, and you want to protect them. You need a few minutes. We're gonna get you a few minutes. We're gonna get you a little break time. You need a break time.
You always got to look at what a woman would do, not what a woman is trained, but what a woman would do. Why is it that the women, some of their best friends was gay? They ain't had no problem hanging out with no gay man. Mm-hmm. Now with us, it's a social thing or whatever type thing here and all this kind of thing here. But the point I'm trying to make here is, in the spirit realm, you see what I'm saying? They don't look on, they look at just light. And what light is awakened. So if you get into judging, making judgments on people, it's just like in the movie. And the reason why I say that is this here.
Hey, you know what? Beyond fear, can you explain the teaching that your soul is located in your anus? When you come back, I want you to take some time off and come back. When you come back, please explain to us as he's discussing the ego solely. Because see, that's how you got to understand this. You got to get this in context when you put all the work together. Your soul is located in your anus. That's a set of information that I'm clearly misunderstanding as well. The gatekeepers to heaven are bisexual, and the reason they were able, their spirits were able to become the gatekeepers of heaven is because they're bisexual. 2 + 2 = 4. If P, then Q. If he teaches that in order to become spiritually active, you must have anal sex, then he teaches that only those that practice the bisexual lifestyle can be gatekeepers in heaven. Listen, we're just going to move on. It's all right. It's all right.
Federal authorities describe as the godfather of the American music business.
Sugar Hill Records, home of the first hit rap song, Dragons and their Jewish underlings. Sugar Hill Records, home of the first hit rap song, Rapper's Delight, got cash protection and orders from an investor named Morris Levy, who owned the infamous Roulette Records and was the Genovese crime family's man in the music industry.
This is the man federal authorities describe as the godfather of the American music business, Morris Levy, in the custody of FBI agents after his arrest just after 7 this morning at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Boston. Levy, the president of Roulette Records, is little known outside the music business, but federal authorities say Levy is as powerful as any big record company president, using his ties with organized crime to control record companies, record stores, and big-name performers.
All you gotta do is
Oh, you've never used samples like this before. This is Arcade, the ultimate sample plugin. You can play, edit, and manipulate any sound all within one plugin. Honestly, it's more like an instrument rather than a huge list of samples. Let me just show you. Instead of scrolling those boring lists that you get with other sample libraries, Arcade gives you this musically intuitive interface that just invites you to start playing, and it allows you to start creating.
Also arrested along with Levy this morning were 21 others in Florida, New York, and New Jersey, indicted by a federal grand jury in Newark on racketeering and extortion charges, accused of using violence to get their way in the gambling business, the narcotics business, and the music business.
It's various disturbing secrets of what goes on behind the curtain, so to speak, have been coming out, especially right now. I think it's important to go back and refresh this story. I did so we understand that the pop entertainment industry was always full of gangsters, weirdos, and the dark manipulation of the gullible Americans who think that things like the box office or, oh, this is the most requested song at the radio station, are real. And when you think of the mafia and crime, you might think of gambling, dope, extortion, loan sharking. But at their peak from the early 50s into maybe the early 80s, they had their hand in almost everything. They were taxing the film industry, the music industry. They were blowing up people that didn't pay to have their garbage picked up by mafia-associated garbage companies. A guy in Detroit may become a billionaire behind that. They killed independent car thieves to take over and corner the chop shop and stolen car parts market. It's billions of dollars. But this is the story of Morris Levy and his African-American right-hand man, and how they laid a heavy hand on black music and dealt literal death to the DJs who crossed them.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida, February 1980. The decomposing body of a man named Big Nat McCullough is found in his home with the back of his head. Mafia Music is not just the title of an album by correctional officer turned rapper Rick Ross. Mafia has infiltrated the music industry from day one. In fact, it helped build up the music industry into what it is.
A Mac 11 machine gun with a silencer is not used for target shooting.
The New Jersey mob investigation began more than 3 years ago with a man identified by federal and state authorities as a mafia boss, Gaetano Vastola, known on the streets of New Jersey and in the recording studios of Hollywood as Corky. By following Vastola and tapping his phone, federal agents were led to Morris Levy, to New York talent agencies, and finally to Hollywood, to the corporate headquarters of the huge entertainment conglomerate.
Hold on, let me ask y'all a question. Check this out. This is something I disagree with. I used to ask Red, like me and Red used to argue this behind the scenes, me and Red Pill. Because Red Pill used to be a big fan of the Professor Griff videos, right? So remember, Professor Griff had this whole hip-hop Illuminati thing he was doing. And for me, it was just okay, because I realized he was taking seeds and adding mad fluff to the, you know what I'm saying? But Red Pill was into it. Now, here's what I couldn't understand. Why would they be doing videos in the daytime saying that the Illuminati is in the music business and how all these rituals and sex stuff is going on in the music industry, and then at the nighttime literally trying to get into the music industry? Now you answer that shit in your mind. If you are conscious and cognizant and saying, oh, wait a minute, there's some sexual satanic shit going on over there. And then you say to yourself, I've got to work hard so that I can get over there. What are you actually saying? Come on now. If P, then Q. If this sexual stuff is going on over there, blah, 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 and I'm saying that the whole industry is doing this. I'm not saying it's a few bad apples or this isolated. I'm saying the whole industry is doing this. Why would I then be trying to get into the industry if I don't want to take part in those things?
MCA and what authorities describe as some suspicious business deals at MCA Records. The president of MCA Records, Irving Azoff, said earlier this year that his company was the victim of the mob and that MCA had done nothing wrong. But somehow, according to federal authorities, millions of MCA records by Neil Diamond, Elton John, and the rock group The Who and others ended up in the hands of mob front record companies.
Salute to the God in the building. This is my long lost brother's brother, which makes this my brother from another mother. So yeah, salute to the God tapping in. I appreciate the tap in.
Which were going to sell the records at huge profits to record stores.
From rock and roll to rap, but especially in R&B music back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And a guy named Morris Levy, who was Nat McCall's one-time mentor and boss, was perhaps the music industry's biggest gangster of his era. And Big Nat would have never been knocked off without the go-ahead of Morris Levy and his Genovese mafia backers. Big Nat McCall was Levy's right-hand man and vice president of Roulette Records, as well as the owner of a tiny R&B music label backed by Levy named Cala Records. Morris Levy is infamous for stealing the publishing rights of quite a few artists, but he first came on to notoriety and importance in the music scene when he opened the Birdland Jazz Club in New York, which was, it's legendary. I think there's a museum about it now. And it was named after Charlie Bird Parker, and Count Basie played there, a Morris Levy signee. Also, he had Frankie Lyman back in the 50s, Why Do Fools Fall in Love? And Levy and his Roulette Records' biggest cash cow was a fresh-faced white kid from Pittsburgh named Tommy James. Tommy James had the #1 hits, Money, Money, and I Think We're Alone Now. And when he showed up as a teenager in New York, when his first record started getting a lot of play in Pittsburgh, where he's from, all the major record labels had an offer on the table for him. And then the very next morning, all those offers had gone away because Morris Levy had called around and made all the big labels an offer they couldn't refuse. He wanted Tommy James for his smaller independent label, and he got him. And over the course of Tommy James' time with Morris Levy, which stretched from about, 68 to 76, he stole about 30 to 40 million in Tommy James's publishing royalties. And think about this: infamous gangster, black heroin kingpin Frank Matthews, Mr. Big, the one who got away with it. Well, $30 million that Tommy James had stolen from him back then is worth about $100 million now. Well, that's about the same amount that, or maybe more, than Frank Matthews stacked and fled with. And he was the biggest drug dealer in the country for a couple of years. So that's how profitable a corrupt, mafia-backed record label was back then, and perhaps is now. Morris Levy's Roulette Records and their golden goose, Tommy James, were so important to the Genovese crime family and so known about to the other crime families that in 1971, when Joey Gallo tried to break away from Colombo family and the Genovese backed Joey Gallo, there was a shooting war that broke out, and they relocated Tommy James down to Nashville out of New York for fear he'd be targeted by the Colombo Profaci family to take out a big source of cash for the Genovese.
Mike Rogers got $1 million from the drug.
Stop this. Man. Now that's one thing. Al Prophet joints is loaded with ads. Al Prophet joints is loaded with ads, but this is a good opportunity. I can show y'all something real quick. Okay, because this stuff is going to be in. Wait, where we need to go? Okay, so real quick, Why are they slowing it down? Like, what are y'all doing? They're like slowing down the ad. Like, that's going to let me show that. All right. So let's just take a look at this, right? So we got Jimi Hendrix. We got Charlie Pride, right? Charlie Pride is the first Black artist to win the Country Music Association's most prestigious award, Entertainer of the Year. In 2000, he was the first Black inductee at the Country Music Hall of Fame, right? So y'all might want to just put that in your back pocket when you see what Beyonce and Jay-Z's doing. It's not a new thing. They're following an already laid out blueprint, right? But I want y'all to pay attention right up in here. Right up in here is I want y'all to watch this thing, right? So 1972, right? You got Isaac Hayes. 1973, you got reggae. 1973, you got Kool Herc. Okay? So when this happens, right? When this happens, this window right here where reggae and rap start to come out, right? This is the most radical, freedom fighting, liberation tool, right? So rap is not yet, you know, the music, and neither is the Jamaican music. Like, so the Jamaican music began to be focused on sex. Think about what happened. The Jamaican music was originally liberation music, freedom music, right? They took that and they turned that into get high and have sex music. Pay attention. They took the rap music, which was also, you know, the politically driven music, right? Because even, pay attention, NWA was conscious protest music. It was just street conscious protest music. You know what I'm saying? It was, that's the only difference really between NWA and Public Enemy. Public Enemy was like, fight the power, you know, let's march on the government. Like, let's do like that. Let's, you know, NWA was saying, you got guns, we got guns too. What up, son, dude? Want a battle for cash? Let's see who's son who. Like, they was on a whole nother, still the same energy, right? But they devolved the rap music into kilos and criminal behavior. So it's criminal culture. So that's why today, even when you look online, you have so many YouTubers that's jail platforms, right? So when our children now want to get into the music, and when I say get into, I don't mean like become artists. I mean just enjoy music, right? Now, in order for young folks to enjoy music, they have to go to prison platforms. What do you mean by prison platforms, Doc? Well, any rap platform that that you want to go to, they be up to date on the new things that's going on with the artists and the rappers, and you know, all of the stories and the gossip associated with your favorite artists. Well, you have to go to these pages where they're talking about how many years they did in prison and who snitched on who and who raped who. And you have to get into the prison culture now. The prison culture is now the gatekeeper for hip hop, right? And they're doing the same thing with the reggae music, right? Because they just bring home Vybz Kartel, right? Vybz Kartel just came home. Vybz Kartel coming home and Big Meech coming home in the same year. I'm going to just say is interesting. I'm going to say it's interesting. Yeah, this is a certified fact. These are prison platforms. Because they're run by ex-cons. I just finished going back and forth with Zip about Dr. Sabi. He run, yeah, I went to prison for 20 years. I shot a guy like this, and I'll shoot another guy right now. And I'm
like, hold up, man. What about these kids that's just trying to listen? They just want to listen to the music. You telling me I got to listen to all this prison behavior and culture, and I got to, the kids got to be indoctrinated with the idea that they're not real men if they haven't shot somebody or went to prison and all kind of crazy stuff. And none of these guys raise their kids. You don't see none of these niggas raising no kids. You don't see none of them teaching about education or uplifting. None of that. It's just strictly 90% of the prison. You know what I'm saying? So it's the pipeline to prison. It don't start with the school system, because guess what? Our kids is listening to this music way before they get in school. Way before they in first grade. They already. So pay attention to this time slot. We're going to go into something that goes on right in here. So now I really want y'all to pay attention to this. Look, now we told y'all the Sugar Hill Gang in the last, was that yesterday or the day before? One of these last videos. That's why this is a whole series. I was talking to one of my guys earlier. He was like, yo, send me the link so I could catch up on the series. I was like, bro, we did 8 hours on Sunday. I don't even know if you got enough time to catch up on, we rolling, you know what I'm saying? But pay attention, there's a gap. There's a gap right here, and we're going to get into what happens in this gap, right? So you got 73 reggae and rap coming on as political tools for the urban, the impoverished, blah, blah, blah. And then you have this time period, right? This time period where there's nothing right here. And then you have Sugar Hill Gang, right? So you have this time period, right, between 73 and 79. And then there's Sugar Hill Gang. Okay, so then the Germans open up the first record label in the States, right, for rap music. So something goes on in here, though. That's what we're going to get to. And I'm almost certain that Al Prophet did not cover this.
More than 100 of these stations devote their entire broadcast day to a black format. Almost all are owned by whites. With WOOK, which adopted a black format in 1946, is still a leader today among local black stations. However, management feels that the station's black identity and success are results of appealing not just to a black audience, but to a general audience through black music.
I think a mass appeal station, a good radio station, is the first thing that we try to create. After we've done so, and as a part of doing so, we try to become a black station. We do so with black performers and playing pretty much exclusively black product.
OK100's format, called Sound of the City, gives the station its urban identity.
We find that by concentrating on this image, it's...
So when Nat McCall was found dead in 1980, he'd been hiding out for about 2 years because of some stuff that happened back in 1977. He was fleeing the heat from 3 murders he was suspected of committing in the Washington, D.C. area, including that of celebrity DJ Bob Nighthawk Terry. According to Maryland State Police records, McCall, less than a month shy of his 50th birthday, was a prime suspect in 3 prior homicides. That same document claimed Levy is the one who relayed the orders from the Genovese to whoever did it, or maybe he did it himself, to knock Nat off down in Florida because he knew too much. And that's what they do when you've run your course of usefulness to the real mob. You're not one of them, or sometimes even if you are one of them, boom, they tie up your loose ends. Now, Levy's corrupt tentacles in the DJ radio world stretch all the way back to him managing a guy named Alan Freed. You might not know the name Alan Freed, but you know the word payola probably. And Alan Freed was the first DJ to have the felony payola law applied to him, or I think it was made up for him. The practice that Levy probably was the guy who started, or one of them, of paying DJs to play records so you could make a record be popular nationally which violated FCC rules. And remember, we as the American public own the airwaves, and radio stations and TV stations are granted certain immunities from antitrust laws, so they can't just do what they want to do. And paying a DJ to play a record outside of the rules of the programming director is a felony. And that Morris Levy's guy, Alan Freed, was the first one to get hit with that. So it's 1977, and Levy and Nat McCalla want to do a concert, and they're calling it the Black Woodstock. It's going to be on Independence Day in the eastern shores of Maryland. Have all the big black acts, soul acts, etc. It's going to be outdoors. Well, Nighthawk Terry gets with two black gangsters from the East Coast, guys named Howard McNair and Teddy Brown. Now, backtrack a little bit, just so you have a clear understanding of Morris Levy. This is a guy who bragged about killing the man who killed his brother back in 1958 and getting away with it, personally killing him. And just in 1975, Levy and McCalla were out on the town one night with some women, and a guy made what Levy thought was an inappropriate comment to the girl he was with, and they attacked the guy. McCalla held him down. Levy pummeled him in the face. The guy lost his eye. He was an off-duty NYPD cop. So,
Ryan? Thank you, Pat, and good morning. At least 5 federal grand juries are investigating allegations of mafia involvement in the music business. And Tuesday, a grand jury in Newark, New Jersey, returned a 117-count indictment against 21 people, including Morris Levy, a powerful figure in the music business who owns record companies and record stores. Mr. Levy joins us this morning from Boston, where just 24 hours ago, he was arrested by the FBI. Good morning, Mr. Levy.
Good morning, Mr. Ross.
Mr. Levy, federal authorities were describing you yesterday as the godfather of the American music business, the connection between the mob and the music business. What do you say to that?
There is no connection between the mob and the music business.
At all?
I don't believe so.
You were indicted yesterday on 3 of the 117 counts. The indictment says essentially that you and a New Jersey mafia figure, Corky Bastola, arranged to have somebody beat up because they owed more than $1 million to the big record company MCA. What
Just relax. We all right. We all right.
Question. What if you can start
backed by Levy named Cala Records. More the felony payola law applied to him, or I think it was made up for him. The practice that Levy probably was the guy who started, or one of them, of paying DJs to play records so you could make a record be popular nationally, which violated FCC rules. And remember, we as the American public own the airwaves and radio stations and TV stations are granted certain immunities from antitrust laws, so they can't just do what they want to do. And paying a DJ to play a record outside of the rules of the programming director is a felony, and that Morris Levy's guy, Alan Freed, was the first one to get hit with that. So it's 1977, and Levy and Nat McCalla want to do a concert, and they're calling it the Black Woodstock. It's going to be on Independence Day in the eastern shores of Maryland. Have all the big black acts, soul acts, etc. It's going to be outdoors. Well, Nighthawk Terry gets with two black gangsters from the East Coast, guys named Howard McNair and Teddy Brown. Now, backtrack a little bit, just so you have a clear understanding of Morris Levy. This is a guy who bragged about killing the man who killed his brother back in 1958 and getting away with it, personally killing him. And just in 1975, Levy and McCalla were out on the town one night with some women, and a guy made what Levy thought was an inappropriate comment to the girl he was with, and they attacked the guy. McCalla held him down. Levy pummeled him in the face. The guy lost his eye. He was an off-duty NYPD cop. So,
Ryan? Thank you, Pat, and good morning. At least 5 federal grand juries are investigating allegations of mafia involvement in the music business. And Tuesday, a grand jury in Newark, New Jersey, returned a 117-count indictment against 21 people, including Morris Levy, a powerful figure in the music business who owns record companies and record stores. Mr. Levy joins us this morning from Boston, where just 24 hours ago, he was arrested by the FBI. Good morning, Mr. Levy.
Good morning, Mr. Ross.
Mr. Levy, federal authorities were describing you yesterday as the godfather of the American music business, the connection between the mob and the music business. What do you say to that?
There is no connection between the mob and the music business.
At all?
I don't believe so.
You were indicted yesterday on 3 of the 117 counts. The indictment says essentially that you and a New Jersey mafia figure, Corky Vastola, arranged to have somebody beat up because they owed more than $1 million to the big record company MCA. What about these charges?
They're not true. They wouldn't have been filed yesterday if I had joined the witness protection program.
Levy was a rough and tumble guy. He had grown up in Harlem, and he probably, had put in some work.
All right, so look, just so that we make sure we're on the same page with our German thing, because when the record labels switch up the names and the ownership and all that, it's easy to get very confused on what we're talking about. So let's do this real quick. Right? So just so we all on the same page with this, remember where we was at. Okay? So just to show you, okay, boom, 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 because I know we started off with Sugar Hill Records, and then somehow, Al got over here. Well, we pulled up Al, but then Al's taking us. He started with Sugar Hill Records as well, but then he took us to Morris Levy, right? And yes, he had a mysterious ending, right? He had a mysterious ending, just like Epstein, but that's not even for this video. Anyway, so this is Levy, just so you know that we're still dealing with a German business, right? His business, his company is Roulette Records. So you type on Roulette Records, and then you got to go over here again. Remember, I told y'all, come on over to this side to either the parent company or the distributor to see who owns it, right? And so you don't want to look in North America because nothing's going on here but subsidiaries. So you look at the worldwide, and when you check out the Parlophone company, right? Okay, so we on the same page with you, huh? So we on the same page. We understand what's happening here. Okay. So that little company he had was a little op right there. That was just a little, that was a little company they created to, you see? But this company becomes who? everybody. Who does this company become? Everybody. Right? This is Columbia. This is EMI. This is everybody. Right? And all roads lead back. Look. This is who? UMG, EMI, Warner Bros. Like you see all these different people that comes out of this one German situation. So when you thinking of all these different names and all that, that's not what it is. I keep trying to explain to y'all. I learned this from Wall Street. Okay, CEOs do not own companies. Right? They're just there as figureheads. So all your complaints and all that can go to that person. When something happens bad, it goes on that person. It doesn't go on the company. The company can go, just like think about your local neighborhood. This is the best example I can give you. Think about your local neighborhood, right? Everybody has had this in their neighborhood. Popular bar or popular nightclub, right? Think about it. What happens at the popular bar or club? It's inevitable, right? Somebody gets stabbed, somebody gets shot, or somebody gets trampled, right? And what do? They close it down for a few weeks, and then they open it right back up and say, what? Under new management. That is the hustle. That's the same as the three tops with the ball under it. See how that go like that? That's what this is. Okay. So just be focused that we still right here. Okay, everything is still right here. So just make sure you're on the same page. I just wanted to show y'all that so you see what's happening here. Okay. All right, let's go back and see what Al got for us.
Shores of Maryland. Nighthawk Terry is the biggest black radio personality in the region at the time, so he's kind of in charge of marketing. He's going to flood the airwaves, but the airwaves isn't all he flooded. Him and Brown and McNair printed up a bunch of counterfeit tickets and started selling them, and it depressed sales of the concert tickets. And even though like 150,000 people came, Levy and the Genovese felt that they had lost over $1 million in potential profits. And 2 days after the concert, Brown and McNair are found shot in the head near the concert campgrounds. And McCullough was probably the guy because he was the liaison to the black community who did that or had it done. And then
the liaison to the black community. Let's get a full stop right there. Look at that. Ooh, it's already happening. Oh, shit. Hold up. It's already happening. You see the waves is coming. I'm telling you, y'all going to start getting seasick and vomiting and all that pretty soon. When I move my head around, it's going to be crazy. But anyway, you heard what he said. The black guy is there as the liaison to the black community. So black people are the culture vultures. This is German culture. This is German culture you consuming. The clothes is foreign, the food is foreign, the music's foreign, the technology's foreign. None of this you own. The only thing you own is the only contribution that you could make to the damn music. And guess what? These people are so confident that you niggas are dumb that you don't read books. They so confident that you don't read books, they sit the truth right out in front of you. What was all black music originally called in America? Come on. It's a 4-letter word that starts with an S. Come on. Come on. It's a 4-letter word that starts with an S and ends with an L. It's a 4-letter word that starts with an S and ends with an L. Come on now. Yeah, do y'all need a refresher course? Here's the quick course. Let me give y'all a quick 3-minute refresher course of all of this music history all together real quick at one time. Here. Come on. What is it? Yo, we gotta get out of that Illuminati mind state. But now I'm starting to really think like, what is it? Selling your soul is a really serious
Thoughts
thing.
and emotions combine into a voice, an electromagnetic signature that articulates choice. Choice is distinction. Distinction is information. Life as we know it is organized information's incarnation to create more and store more is the alpha magma. Codified in Kemet is the falcon's plasma. Satan is a trick. Blatant as a dick to be complacent in this shit makes you a patient that is sick. The truth is you are a true star. Your caterpillar construction cocoons a new star. The real definition of selling your soul first is trading becoming stellar for a star on earth. Second, you help block creation, illumination, separating information, billions of years in accumulation. Blindly, nigga, we couldn't be more stupid. Sound becomes light. Life is raw music.
Electromagnetic waves.
The etymology of photography is the right with light. Big Willie, well I am, type of hype, get it? Do you understand what footage is? Skin on tree trunks with visual acoustics is. What it mean to own your image and likeness exclusive is? That's your light, clueless kid in a ruthless biz. The image is your soul, the likeness is your swag, and there's no fucking way I trade that for a bag. Your soul is electromagnetic fields. Your voice is the specific frequency it yields. Encoding your thoughts, encoding your emotion. When those waves collapse, the culture's your commotion. Nigga, keep your guns, just squeeze proper. Culture vultures is cowards and eavesdroppers. The digital age, we clearly got it labels. Sound becoming light as the periodic table.
What is it? Electromagnetic waves. What is it? Electromagnetic waves. What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? Electromagnetic.
How we didn't know rap could get that big. Buzz is biology, underwriting zigzag zig. That's why the buzz come after the goosebumps. And my shit creating new mumps. Bass sicker than blue pumps. Swinging like it's noose hung. Ain't no stopping us. Affecting the whole populace. Shining like phosphorus. The fiends say I'm all type of dope. I make a photon of firework like a microscope. Light entendres, light forecast. Let's work. Smell me like a broadcast network. Get it? Peripherance is the middlemen that RCA just mimicking. In the Bible, when they lost their blessing, they start burning. 2018 radio turned urban because we started with nothing and did it the best. Sound becomes light, light becomes flesh.
What is it? Electromagnetic waves in your body works the same way as the recording technology. So we take it back. You look at a phonograph. A phonograph is a carbon disc spinning with a carbon needle. That carbon disc, that carbon needle is able to record what? Electromagnetic waves.
1978, Nighthawk Terry himself drove away from the radio station one night in his blue Oldsmobile Tornado, never to be seen again. And informants told the FBI he had been killed, dismembered, and spread across North Carolina farmland. And in fact, his car was, his blue Oldsmobile was found torched in North Carolina about a year after he disappeared. So the Nighthawk and Brown and McNair had counterfeited like 100,000 tickets and cost Levy and the Genovese a lot of money. They paid for it with their lives, and Nat McCullough was suspected to be the point man, if not the trigger man, on all three of those killings. And now we get, like so many out-profit stories from the 70s, now we get to the heroin. You may have heard of Kevin Gray, reputed to be the leader of Washington, D.C.'s most murderous hit squad during the decade when the nation's capital reigned as the murder capital of the world. Gray was indicted for 31 murders. Well, his uncle was a guy named Linwood Gray. And back in the late 70s, Linwood Gray was the other co-promoter along with Levy of the Eastern Shore's Black Woodstock. And Linwood Gray was suspected of being the biggest heroin dealer in D.C. in the late 70s. He got indicted for that. And he actually beat those charges, but he got convicted of tax evasion. And while he was in prison for tax evasion, his lawyer from the case where the drug case he beat accused him of extorting him from prison, and he got 25 years for that. But then some of that got rolled back, and I'm not sure when Linwood Gray got out, or if he got out, or when he died, or if he died. Be interesting to know, because he was an interesting character. He made the papers in his early 20s for some bank robberies, and then he was found criminally insane, so they put him in a mental facility for 6 years and street legend is that he used the money from the bank robberies to set himself up in the heroin business, which was pretty sophisticated for a crazy guy. They were getting it in Amsterdam, heroin, packaging it into Marlboro cigarette packs, smuggling it back into the U.S. and then onto the streets of D.C. But when his narcotics trial came up in 79 or something, Linwood Gray did a Keefe D. He blamed it on a dead man. He, in fact, said that Nighthawk Terry, the DJ, who had been mixed up with McNair and Brown, who were known drug traffickers, he said Nighthawk was the real kingpin and that he was just along for the ride. And he was found not guilty of a lot of those narcotics charges by blaming it on Nighthawk Terry, who was...
Stop asking research questions to ChatGPT.
At that point. Now, back to Nat McCullough and Morris Levy. Considered the #1 suspect in the 2 homicides in the woods near the concert campgrounds and Nighthawk Terry's disappearance, Nat left New York and went into hiding in Florida. He was discovered dead in a rented Fort Lauderdale residence, sitting on a lounge chair in front of his TV, back door open, keys on the ledge, TV on, heater on, back of his head blown out. So whoever it was let themselves in probably, shot him in the back of the head, or was let in, shot him in the back of the head, left. He never knew it was coming. No one's ever been charged for the murders of Nighthawk and the other 2 guys associated with the concert, nor of Nat McCullough. Morris Levy never really suffered a legal penalty for the things he did. He did get convicted of RICO charges involving his time in the music industry, and he got a 12-year sentence, but he died right before he went in. His old mafia boss, Vince the Chin Gigante, dodged the fate of a lot of the other mob bosses in the mid-'80s with the Mafia Commission trial.
You hear that? He got a 10-year bid, but mysteriously he died right before he could go in there. That's very interesting.
He lasted him through the 90s. He was the one who would dress in the bathrobe and walk around Mulberry Street and pretend to be crazy. He ended up dying in prison in 2005, but those guys took a lot of money out of the music industry, and Levy didn't suffer any penalty for it. Levy was a big force in the music industry for a while. He owned the Strawberries Records chain in the Northeast. It had 81 stores. I remember servicing them with DVDs back 10 years ago before.
All right. Al, you good? But listen, Al, you're making it crazy. Listen, this video is getting crazy. We've already blanked in and out. People is typing stuff in the chat, but when I click on it to put it on the screen, it's turning into different words. M4 wrote soul in response to my question, but when I tap on it, it don't say that. It says something else. You see that? That's some demonic shit right there. Let me take a screenshot of this shit so y'all can see what I'm saying. There's some crazy shit going on. Look at this. Let me show you what he actually typed into the chat. Look at this. Okay. Bam. Look at this. That's what he actually tapped into the chat. That's what he actually typed in. Soul. But when I click on it to put it on the screen, it does that. So you know some other shit is going on to this video. I don't know what that is. That's some other shit right there. Oh, it shows y'all right? Oh, it's only glitching on my end. All right, so let me put it on the screen and then let y'all see what I see. Look at this. Just so you can see. So it's designed to make me look like I'm crazy. That is very interesting. That is very interesting. All right, so let me show you what I see. Look at this. So every time I put that on the screen, this is what shows up on my side. Look. Now, can you see what it says? See, that's what he typed in soul, but when I click put it on the screen, it shows that. So that means somebody hacked into something on my side. That's very interesting. Hold on. Let me save this just in case this turns into some BS later. Yeah, because that's crazy. Exactly. You're like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Right? That's nuts. That's crazy, right? I've never seen nothing like that before. And it did it with something I typed earlier, but I didn't pay no attention to it. I didn't think it was going to be like a thing, right? So that's folks messing around. Okay. But we working. Y'all praying for Dr. EnQi's protection, right? Y'all better be. Okay, now let's check this out here. Remember, we got to get into that time slot and see what was happening between 73 and 79 when Sugar Hill Records jumps on the scene. So, rhythm and blues, rhythm and business, yeah. Try to get this as big as possible for y'all. All right. When Mary first uttered the opening lines to You Remind Me, it was about making sure that hip-hop remembered that R&B came from the same streets where crackheads roamed and the same tenement vestibules where drama went down on the regular. But as I listened to Mario's Let Me Love You, it is perhaps easy to suggest that R&B has lost its soul, or that Clear Channel, Radio 1, AOL, Time Warner, and Viacom, a neo-plantation cabal if there ever was one, ripped its heart out. Hip-hop may have sold out, but at least it has sold out on its own terms. R&B, on the other hand, has sold out on somebody else's. On a pop chart paper chase, truth be told, Usher was nothing more than a soon past his peak R&B. Let me say this. The views and opinions, right? The views and opinions, like, just saying. These are not necessarily our views and opinions. So don't judge me. Don't say I'm hating on Usher. Blah, blah, blah. Right? I am not the author of this article. This is Mark Anthony Neal, who wrote this article in June of 2005. Okay? This is Mark Anthony Neal wrote this in 2005. This is his opinion. Okay? But what's interesting with this article is everybody that's associated with the Diddy case is in this article from 20 years ago. Everybody. It starts with Mary. Then you see it moves on quickly to Usher. And so you're just going to keep noticing that all these key names that's involved with the Diddy case of today is somehow linked into this whole story that this guy's talking about right here. So just pay attention. This is definitely the Diddy files. All right. So just making sure y'all understand the mission at hand and what we're on. All right. Make sure y'all understand the mission at hand and what we're on, what we're doing. Okay. Now look at this. Look at the next name pop up. Look at the next name pop up. This can't be by mistake. You see, that's what I'm saying. This is crazy how these names just pop up. Anyway, truth be told, Usher was nothing more than a soon past his peak R&B singer before John Smith laced him with some crunk junk. Ray J could have sung the hook on Yeah and topped the pop charts. Wow. Little John's name is John Smith. That's interesting. Y'all should look up the history of that name, John Smith. And now 10 million units later, we want to act like Mr. Raymond is the second coming of Michael Jackson. I ain't willing to grant him the second coming of Bobby Brown. It's not like we even knew Mr. Legend and Mrs. Queen of Crunkin' B were in the room until some hip hop act sanctioned their presence. But what ails contemporary R&B is not just a matter of commercial success of John Legend, A. Marie, Ciara, or Mario. Wow, this person here is going crazy. They're killing everybody in the R&B business. The current state of R&B comes not from a sudden decline, but from a process more than 30 years in the making. The story begins in 1972 when a few enterprising master's students at Harvard Business School prepared us. I told y'all, Harvard is the center of culture in America. 1972, when a few enterprising master's students at Harvard Business School prepared a study commissioned by one of Columbia's execs, detailing how the Columbia Records Group could better integrate the then largely independent Black music industry into the mix. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand what that means? I'll stop right there. Do you understand what that line is? That is a plan to take those independent music companies, dissolve their independence, and assume the talent or what? The souls of those artists. Right? And we went through the other day what The Voice was and blah, 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 blah. We went through all that whole thing. So you got that. That's in writing right there. We're reading that. I didn't make that up. Remember, I'm just going through the material. The now infamous 2017 Harvard report, officially known as a study of the soul of music, officially known as a study of the soul music environment, has often been referred to as a sinister blueprint aimed at arming a litany of culture bandits with the theoretical tools to return Black culture to a neo-colonial state. There's no denying this is the situation we're staring at now, but it has nothing to do with the Harvard report. What those MBA students articulated was a no-brainer marketing plan informed by the commercial success of Motown, hint, hint, Detroit, right? Detroit, and the cynical view that the civil rights revolution likely had more to do with the realities of Black folks had disposable income and white folk consumed a hell of a lot of Black pop culture. Right? My man needs some commas and some periods in here. Jesus, I thought I had run-on sentences in my books. This is insane. Look at this. There is no punctuation in this. That is wild right there. Not even Big Pun could do this whole sentence without a breath. Like, this is crazy right here. Dead in the middle, a little, did we know that we ran into middlemen who didn't do diddly. It'll be a cold day in hell before I'm taking out. Now, I can do all those lines. I can't. Now, think about that. I could do that, and I can't do this. Informed by the commercial success of Motown and the cynical, though not mistaken view, the civil rights revolution likely had more to do with the realities that Black folk had disposable income and white folks consumed a hell of a lot of Black pop culture than anything to do with real structural change in American society. Woo! Yeah, we won't do that again. In response to those expecting more sinister designs in the Harvard report, Professor David Sanjek rhetorically chimes in the 2006 edition of Rhythm and Business. Did Columbia feel the need to document what they should have already known? Sanjek suggests eventually somebody in the music industry would have come up with their version of the Harvard report. And then we got who?
So the article starts with Mary moves to Usher, taps in Ray J, and pretty soon we over here with Clive Davis. Do you see the Diddy? Do you see the Diddyosity yet of this report? I just want to know, type a 1 in the chat if you see the Diddyosity of this report. Okay, if you see some Diddyosity, I need you to type a 1 in the chat for the Diddyosity. Clive Davis, who incidentally was president at Columbia at the time the report was commissioned. Now, you understand what commissioned means. This is what I always tell y'all about research. Whoever pays for the research, right? That's what commission is. So Clive Davis is the one who was president at Columbia Records when this report was commissioned from Harvard. So what does that mean? Clive Davis paid Harvard students to come up with this blueprint of how black music could be assimilated. These independent labels could be assimilated into the majors. So now, all of the goofy people out there, right? All of the goofy people out there that said, I didn't know what I was talking about when I said things are just going back to the way they used to be. See, there's such a thing as called the Industrial Revolution. Before the Industrial Revolution, everybody was an entrepreneur. There was no such thing as a big company that's going to tell you, work for us your whole good life. And then when you old and sick and you could barely move around, we'll send you a few dollars every month to keep you going. Like, no, nobody was signing up for that shit. You had business owners, and then you had apprentices. And you would be as an apprentice for X amount of time, learn the business, go do your own business. And that applied everywhere. That was how the world went around. It didn't matter whether you was baking cakes, whether you was building houses, or whether you was dropping an album. You learned how it went, and then you did that, right? Period. And within any space, you obviously have divisions of labor, hint, hint, wink, wink, right? You have divisions of labor. So you may have somebody learning to sing, where somebody's learning how to record, where somebody's learning how to do the music, but they all coming together, learning their own trades to create. So this thing started, at least the black music, the soul music, started with independent labels. Okay, independent labels. So now, as they talking about the artists is going back independent, think about what's happening now. When the artists start to go independent, what follows that? The collapse of all the big labels. What happened to those artists that was making a lot of sales independent? Those niggas mysteriously died. Yeah. What happened to Mac Miller? Oh, he OD'd on the, yeah. Let me tell y'all something that the world doesn't really fully know, okay? Drug users know this. Drug dealers know this. People that are not drug dealers or drug users, but they're in the communities in proximity to drug dealers and drug users. Well, guess what secret we know that people in the rest of the world don't know? It is very difficult for a long-term drug user to OD, no matter what drug it is that they're using, because that drug is the only thing they pay attention to in their life. A crackhead only thinks about crack. They put crack above their kids, their parents, their business, their life, their hygiene, their health, everything. So if it's one thing on earth crackheads know, oh, they know that crack. If it's one thing pill poppers know, they know them pills. And that go all the way down the line. If you watching this and you smoke cigarettes, you know damn well you could damn near, after about 2, 3, 4 years smoking cigarettes, you could tell the difference between a stale cigarette, a new cigarette, a 100, a regular. Like, you smoke weed, you know the difference between all the different strains, and this makes my body tired, but this makes me creative. Think about all you know about what your drug of choice is. It's very difficult to just be ODing, right?
So anyway, you got these independent record labels, and then what happens? All the majors start firing people. Soon as the young boys start dropping their own records and all that. Right? And what happens to look, the one that look at Tory Lanez. So once the talent starts going back independent, the labels start crumbling. Start having cats buying back their masters. Young cats is doing their own thing on the internet. Record labels start crumbling. Now the record labels start crumbling. What they got to do? Well, if the record labels crumble, that means the power system is going to crumble. And that means the dirt that has happened has to get like sealed off. It's like a wound. It's like a cancer. This all of the dirt associated with the business now has to get. So we need somebody to put this on. We got to put somebody. We got to put all this shit on somebody. Enter your man Diddy. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we don't stop. The problem is you never understood we. Who the hell is we? When you heard the song, you thought he meant like him and Biggie or him and Mace. You didn't know that he meant him and all these Germans. Yo. Look at this. Look at the stream. We got all kind of crazy stuff going on the stream. We got some type of hacking, weird, crazy thing going on. Look, I got a guy that says his name is Quincifer, talking about y'all ordered, but blah, 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 you know, throw a little dirt on my name in the chat. And then when I ask him, is Quincifer a real name or you doing them rituals? My man is gone. No response. Listen. It's getting hot in here. Crazy stuff is afoot. Crazy stuff is afoot. All right. Start with our guy Clive. The point is, with or without the Harvard report, the takeover was well underway. Black music has always had a complicated relationship with big business. That is, the relationship typically had little to do with actual music, perhaps explains the often unbalanced quality of what we've come to call R&B. This complicated relationship also partly explains what exactly R&B is. The term R&B is essentially a shortened version of the rhythm and blues, but as a novice might discern, that which is called R&B bears little resemblance to the musical landscape created by Ruth Brown, Louis Jordan, Laverne Baker, or Charles Brown and the Coasters. Those are your old school blues guys. All right. Perhaps that was the point. Musical innovation aside, R&B was making a ploy that gained a significant foothold during the late 70s. R&B was born out of competing logics. Record companies tried to negotiate the realities of Black culture and identity within the history of race relations in America, while trying at the same time to reach a wider audience of Black consumers and white record buyers. Wait a minute, Jesus Christ! This is a hell of a sentence here. Let's just take a second to look at this here. Okay. So again, I told y'all, rise of the Black culture vultures, right? What you think is Black culture is not. Okay. Record companies tried to negotiate the realities of Black culture and identify within the history of race relations in America. an identity within the history of race relations in America, while trying at the same time to reach a wider audience of Black consumers and white record buyers. Okay, so the record labels are negotiating what our identity and culture is. And at the same time, they said, well, what is this Black consumers and white record buyers? Like, why is this different? Wouldn't this be Black and white consumers, or either Black and white record buyers? What is different than a consumer versus a record buyer? Anybody? What's different than a consumer versus a record buyer? Because we have that going on right now in the country now. And you see that wording is very specific. The consumer is the brainwashed. The consumer is the person who think this is what they're supposed to actually be doing, their actual life. Right? So the consumer gets high, listens to the music, thinks he needs to have a gun and catch a case and go to jail and keep it real with the Draco, and he got the kilogram and blah, 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 blah. And even if that's not his lifestyle, he could be a nice kid from a nice place. He will pretend that that is his lifestyle because the record labels have dictated this is what we want. So if you'd like to get this money, you know, whatever that means, get this money. Nobody ever asks this money. What is this money? Like, as differentiated from other money, like, what does this money mean? If you want to get this money, you've got to. And so that's another reason why the YSL case is going to be so important. Because just now, what the lawyers done brung out against the government gang experts is, they're like, yo, let's start with this. Y'all got these kids in here basically on trial for lyrics. Do y'all know who actually wrote these lyrics that they performed? Do you know if these people that are on trial actually wrote the lyrics that you're claiming that they... It was like, that's why that boy got to get released. He getting released pretty soon. I don't think Young Thug is going to make it 2025 and before they get that case going to get thrown out. He's coming out because that case is crazy over there. They done destroyed that case. The prosecutor and the gang expert said they don't even know who wrote the lyrics to the song. These kids being convicted for lyrics that they didn't even write. Like, mind-blowing, right? Then one of the songs that they saying is a crime was released before the crime happened. This shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, and then they also asked them on the stand, how come they didn't question or lock up any record execs, the record promoters, like all of the rest of the people at the record business that's associated? Because they just performing lyrics that most times they don't even write. But the record labels is the one that hires the writers. They pay for the marketing and all this stuff to go on. So why aren't they also? So a lot of questions is being answered under oath in that case. Well, at least you got a notification. Yo, and this is crazy. See, the whole reason we start this series is because this Puff Daddy thing is so repetitive. And that's the thing. It's like every time it happens again, we forget this just happened like 10 years ago. This whole rollout with everybody being exposed and all of the stuff behind the closed doors in the music. We just did this with Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. We just finished doing this. We just did this before them with Tupac and Biggie. You know, like we keep uncovering these crazy things, but then somehow we go right to sleep on the spot, and then we just back into the bullshit somehow. Like, I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Bro, I don't know. That shit is the craziest part of it. Oh, see, that's where I don't think that was staged. And I do believe that there's some other stuff going on. Like, why would Kanye have a cave, and why would he be in a cave with Marilyn Manson? Like, what? See, it's just so like that goat incidents, like the Kanye and Marilyn Manson in the cave joint, like all these stories, like none of these stories make sense independently of a unified background culture that is inclusive of all these satanic things. Period. That's the only explanation. So we got to apply a Cam's razor to this shit. You know what I'm saying? No matter how crazy some of this shit sounds, what are we going to do? Okay, what are y'all doing right here? Mike Rogers. Okay, Mike. Mike, you're going crazy. Okay. Okay. All right. So blah, blah, blah. Black consumers and white record buyers. As Black radio needed mainstream advertisers to court the emerging Black middle class. Okay, now hold up. Here's another thing that I think we all skip right over when we have these conversations. Do you see all the energy that these big record companies is putting on? Did you see the beginning when we showed it? The radio programmer of all of the stations said they build up companies as, you know, mass appeal stations, and then they change them over to play Black music. Keep in mind, Black folks only make up 13% of this country, and a very large percent of that 13% is in prison. So why would so many companies be focused on targeting the small demographic in their country? Common sense, unless we start to add in some of this other shit, unless we start to getting into some of this crazy shit here, it does not make sense that we're pushing 100% of the people to listen to what's coming out of 13% of the population. That doesn't make sense. Scratch a lie, find a thief. Certain shit just don't make sense. Why would you be putting all this emphasis on the small? Doesn't make sense. And then take Black and white out of it. That doesn't even matter. Let's say it's a 87% purple country, and you got 13% orange niggas running around. Like, why wouldn't we just focus on if I'm a company, I'm trying to sell to as much as people as possible. So it would make sense that I would be making music for purple folks and trying to get the orange folks to come this way. Yeah, come on, listen to this purple music. This is what it is right here. Yeah, tap into this shit here, right? Why would I be telling the 87%, yeah, we're not going to really support your guys' culture, whatever that is. We want y'all to come over here and listen to this. There's something in there, right? There's something in there, right? Jay said it. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. What Jay didn't say is that numbers could be grossly misinterpreted. All right. As Black radio needed mainstream advertisers to court the emerging Black middle class, as much an ideology as a measurement of economic and social status in mainstream, record labels became fixated on crossing over Black artists to white consumers. Terms like soul and rhythm and blues quickly became too Black. You see? This is why, what did we spend like a good 3 or 4 weeks? We spent a good bit of time in here where I kept telling y'all what? This presidential election shit is not this. We really have to figure this word out. And then when I start asking everybody, what does Black mean? Because before I start asking people, what does Black mean, and putting people on the spot publicly to answer, everybody thought that everybody had this consensus that we was all on the same page. Yeah, we Black people. I'm like, okay, well, what is that?
What is black based on? I asked the militant brothers. They say black is anybody that's against white supremacy. Okay, that kind of makes sense, because if we go all the way back to Harriet Tubman, there's never been a quote unquote black freedom movement or black liberation movement where white folks were not working with black folks, right? In case you niggas didn't know, Harriet Tubman was not sleeping in the basement of black folks' houses. The slave railroad, or however you want to call it, that was a bunch of white folks' houses that was down with the team. They were opposing white supremacy. So I guess all those white folks would actually be black folks under that definition, which almost null and voids the purpose of having the definition, except to identify the ops. But if the same definition is used for the ops as for your team members, it becomes very confusing. So if you're black as the opposite of white, but your movement cannot happen without white people, that term becomes arbitrary and almost asinine. Just saying. Then, if we say that black means that you have melanin, right? Because I've heard that. That's people try to get smart and say that. Oh, no. White folks don't have no melanin. You sound illiterate. That's what that means. Okay. Everybody has melanin. Everybody. In the skin, all throughout your brain, your spine. Your spine and your brain doesn't even work without neuromelanin. You would be a vegetable. If you didn't have neuromelanin, you couldn't do anything. The literal center of your brain, the core of your brain, is made from dopaminergic neurons. I want y'all to say that at home. Dopaminergic neurons. Dopaminergic neurons. You have different types of neurons. All neurons do not have melanin in them. Only or mainly the dopaminergic neurons produce neuromelanin. Okay? The dopaminergic neurons, that means the ones that produce dopamine, come on, are the ones that produce neuromelanin. Come on. This is the same area in the brain that you target with what? Cocaine, heroin, sugar. Come on. Wakey, wakey. I'm going to need y'all niggas all the way in the back there to wake up. Matter of fact, do I need to wipe this damn screen off? Y'all all right back there? Do I need to? Testing. This shit working. The same terminology turnover occurred during the late 70s when urban began to stand for radio stations that essentially programmed black music. As Nelson George explains, urban was supposedly a multicolored programming style tuned to the rhythm. See, y'all didn't, I think y'all thought that song that I made was just lyrics. When I said 2018, radio turned urban. 2018, radio turned urban. Well, that's an actual thing. Go look up what happened in 2018 with the radios, right? Do y'all know when Mitt Romney, do y'all know who Mitt Romney was? Hold up. Pause everything you're thinking. Do y'all remember Mitt Romney was trying to run for president? Do y'all know who Mitt Romney was? Mitt Romney was the guy that was like the majority owner of Clearwater or Clear Channel. I think that's what it's called, Clear Channel. Clear Channel is the majority, that's the company that owns most of the radio. Yeah, that would have been like electing Rupert Murdoch to be the president. Like that would have been crazy. Y'all have to understand what's going on. See, that's what I'm saying. I be talking to folks, they tell me they know about the music business. I ask them, what's Clear Channel? They say, what's that? Then I know they don't know nothing about the music business. I don't know what type of music business you studying. You niggas think you studying the music business because you studying Baby and Master P and Baby and Master P at the biggest record labels and blah, blah, blah. Them labels is pretend. Those not real labels. Okay, there's only one attempt at making an actual real label, and that one attempt at making a real record label got Irv Gotti and those niggas in jail. And that was the end of that. Zip! There was no more of that.
Okay, that is it. Yeah, I better look up Mitt Romney, boy. All right, so let's go. According to the Harvard report, black radio was strategically important to record companies because it provided access to large and growing record-buying public, namely the black consumer. The report is oblivious to the fact that the very birth of what was called race music in the 1930s was premised on selling goods and services to a uniquely defined audience, namely African Americans constrained by Jim Crow segregation. An audience that may even buy a record or two in the process of buying furniture, cleaning supplies, and an insurance policy. God damn. Did I tell y'all about this? Oh, anyway. Nevertheless, the report is cognizant of the growth of an emerging black middle class, one that would prove attractive not just to record companies, but also advertisers eager to fuel black desires to consume the fetishes of a post-civil rights world. Listen, every so often, there is a hell of a sentence in this report here. And this happens to be one. Man, if this is not, I mean, this guy's a pretty good writer. To fuel black desires to consume the fetishes. Okay, let's stop for a second right here. That's a very important sentence, right? And I want y'all to participate now. So we got a couple dozen. We got a couple folks in here. We keep going between 30 and 50. We going up and down. Listen, I need y'all participation. I want y'all to explain to me. Just type it into the chat, please. I want you to type into the chat. What is the lifestyle of a pop star or a rock star? Like, what is the lifestyle of a rock star or a pop star in America? Come on. I want y'all to type that in the chat. Tell me what that is. Give me a couple ideas. Throw something out there. Even if you're not sure what it is, throw something out there. Come on. Vanity? You gotta come with some more detail. Vanity is kind of generalized. It's vanity in a lot of places. Right? I wouldn't even say that the headquarters of vanity is the music business. I would say that's more like, that would be like modeling, but come on. Come on, Paul. You got it. Drugs. Come on, what else? What else? Come on. Come on, look. Sex, drugs, and music. Now, rock and roll at one point was a specific genre, but after a while, with the merger, you got to remember, pay attention. How it go? The courts is down. They want to be down with the king. They want to be down with the king. See, language, right? When you're dealing with symbolism and sigils and secret societies and all these things, you have to understand that there is a thing called doublespeak. There is a way that I can communicate to you guys as well as communicate in secret to another group with the same terminology, but it means something different. So to the public, I could be talking about the king of pop culture, the king of rap, the king of getting money, the king of whatever. I could just be talking crazy. I could just be, popping my collar and talking my shit, right? But I could also literally be pledging allegiance to that culture where you want to be like, EnQi, I don't know if I'm buying that. Okay. That's because y'all forgot that Run DMC merged rap music with heavy metal and rock. Walk this way. It's all this way. It's all this way. Walk this way. Right? Walk this way. Did you know that your walk is a part of your soul? Did you? No, seriously. This is not like we're not down the rabbit hole with this. This is textbook science. Your walk, your gait. Did you hear what I just said? Your gait is literally unique. Every single person has a different gait. G-A-I-T. Gait means the rhythm of your walk. It's unique to every person, just like your fingerprint, your tongue print, your eye print, your lip print, because it is an expression of your individual uniqueness. It's a part of your soul. Run DMC merged. So post Run DMC now, you have the one culture, right? Where the pop artist is just everybody's working together, right? It's just one, everybody's doing, you still got your branch off where you do your thing, but now you see, rock and roll folks doing songs with R&B people. J-Lo is in the hood with the locks, like J-Lo, Mariah Carey is with Cam and the Dipset. Like what the hell is what Mariah Carey's with the Dipset. Like that's, I like the music, but we have to take that other look and be like, wait, what was happening right there? What were they doing? What were they doing? And who are these players? Who was instrumental and what happened to these people, right? Mariah Carey said that she used to be locked in an actual physical cage every night by Tommy Mottola, like chained up in a cage, like cage. And it was ODB from Wu-Tang that was helping her with Tommy Mottola. And then all of a sudden, something happened to DB right after he signed a deal with Dame Dash. Wait. Let's just go back to the article. Let's just go back to the article because this is going to get crazier. So Black desires to consume. Oh, but you know what? I got to say this before we go back to the article. So here's the point. All right. And I'll leave it to this. Here's the point. And we go back to the article. Every generation has to have a Puff Daddy because Puff Daddy is the salesman of the image of the entire industry. He's the salesman of it. So this is why nobody's speaking out on him, because everybody has been to the Puff Daddy party. There's nobody in the industry that has not been to the Puff Daddy party, because the Puff Daddy party is literally what makes you feel like a superstar. It's him. He's the one, the singular individual that makes you feel like you are now a superstar, right? You can hang out with him and you can get drugs that he's got pink cocaine. What the hell is pink cocaine? That's at Puffy's house. So you can have pink cocaine, baby oil with some other shit in there, and you can have the wildest sex that you've ever imagined in a mansion, right? Well, that is literally the American dream that he's being persecuted for. Because that's literally what everybody who wants to be a pop star, that's what they want. That's the package. That's the package.
That's the difference between, you know, the say you got a guy who makes it to be rich, but he did it through business. Right? What's the difference between that businessman and the guy who got rich from rock and roll or selling records and blah, blah, blah? Well, the pop star is expected to be high, you know, tear up the hotel rooms, have crazy sex, you know, all of that. That's the package. So once these people cross a certain threshold of success, in order for that to continue to sell itself, those things, someone has to make that happen. Someone has to make that a reality for them, right? They have to have those nights where they feel like they're not regular people. And if you take away the sex and the drugs, what are these people? What are they doing different than anybody else? If you take away the sex and the wild, the access, right? That's the access. If you take away the access to all those things, the wild sex and the drugs and the parties, what are these guys? Regular business folks. It's over. The allure, right? Or yes, use the word that starts with a T, right? The temptation disappears. And how does the devil? Now we could go back to the article. Superstars don't exist without Puff Daddy. That's the reason why LeBron James talking about welcome home, Big Meech. That's the reason. That's the reason. Because Big Meech is a superstar that was doing what? He was facilitating what? Sex and drugs. But he celebrated because he didn't have to go through none of them doors that we talking about. So they celebrating him for getting to that star level without none of them doors, right? That's what he celebrated for. But make no mistake. Make no mistake. How did Big Meech get famous? If you niggas are at home thinking that somehow this Big Meech story has nothing to do with Puff Daddy, y'all are sadly confused. How did Big Meech get famous? Big Meech got famous when somebody in his organization was having a shootout. Remember, Big Meech and BMF was having a shootout in Atlanta with Puffy and his team. And that's when Puffy's bodyguard, Wolf, got killed by somebody in the BMF organization. And that's when them niggas hit the radar of the wide. Yeah. That's how they got famous. That's how everybody got to know about BMF and Big Meech and all that. If that shooting with Puff Daddy and Wolf never happens, there may not be a Big Meech and T in prison and all that. They may not have had the attention or the heat to be locked up at that time because they was doing whatever they was doing pretty good for a long time. It's not until that situation happens with Puff that, boom, Big Meech, EMF, right? And how do I know? Because my cousin is very close friends with Big Meech. Not fake cousin, you know, like, yo, no, I know him pretty good. That's my cousin. No, my cousin's pretty good friends with Big Meech. So I'm saying none of you people in the world knew about any of this going on until Puffy. Okay, so Puffy gets involved with BMF, then there's a murder. That's literally the Puffy story every time. Puffy gets involved and there's a murder somewhere. Puffy gets involved, someone's going to die. And when someone dies, someone else is going to skyrocket to fame. And that's a pattern. That's his pattern, and that's the pattern of everybody around him. So it's very interesting that now, right? Because you had Meech go to jail, and then Puffy went to billionaire status. Now you have Meech coming home, and nobody's fully sure on how he's coming home because everybody's putting different theories together. No, he got a program. No, he snitched. No, he did some CI. I don't even understand this shit. All these theories floating around. The one thing for sure, two things for certain, is that he's coming out while Puffy's going in. That's all you need to know. All right, so in the aftermath of centuries of struggle, exploitation, and violence, some members of the black middle class often viewed their ability to consume widely throughout mainstream society as an emblem of the freedoms won during the civil rights struggle. You gotta be kidding me. Check this out. To get a sense of what this urban blackness would look and feel like, think of the immensely popular early 1980s Colt 45 commercials featuring Billy D. Williams. Yo, and I can't front. Listen, I want to sit right here just like you do and say, nah, malt liquor, that wasn't black identity. Malt liquor was not black identity. And let me tell you, as much as I would like to tell you that that's true, I know that to be a non-fact. Malt liquor was absolutely a part of the black experience and black culture right up until we, like, what the fuck? Like, we had to do that because I was there. I lived it. I lived it. Malt liquor reached its height at my youth. So we had the what was that? And don't even think about the St. Ides. You going too far. If you just went from Colt 45 to St. Ides, you done missed a whole bunch of shit. Because there was malt liquors that was so crazy, that made niggas go so crazy and violent, they pulled them off the shelf. Right? There was Crazy Horse. Damn, there was a few of these malt liquors that only lasted like a few months on the shelves because they was linked to some crazy stuff, and then they had to pull it and come back with something else. But Billy D created the blueprint. That blueprint lasted all throughout the 90s, right? Because a lot of you niggas missed out. See, y'all are, like I said, these repetitive cycles, you gotta use your memory, right? Pay attention and look around. How did Ice Cube blow up? How did Ice Cube blow up? Remember, all right, forget Ice Cube for a second. Let's talk about Nas. How did Nas become a billionaire? Let's talk about Nas. Remember what Nas said, just like Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart said he's never going to wear the dress. Well, Kevin Hart wore the dress and then he became a billionaire. We're just going to let that be like that because we ain't talking about comedians or actors right now. That is a fact. That's what happened. You figure it out and explain it to yourself. Let's talk about Nas for a second because then Nas will explain Ice Cube. Nas said the same thing. Nas said, I ain't never selling no liquor to my people. I'm never going to do that. Nas was not doing very well financially. He had to come on over to Hove, big bro. After him and Hove start negotiating and talking and blah, 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 Nas starts promoting Hennessy. After Nas starts promoting liquor, mysteriously, Nas has investments that have paid off to hundreds of millions of dollars. All of a sudden, after he started promoting this liquor, he got some mysterious tech investments that nobody could fully explain exactly what the hell he invested in or where the product of that is in the real world. Like, what? Nah, nigga, don't tell us you made something. What did you invest in? If I say I invested in sneakers, I could show you a pair. If I say I invested in some oil, I could show you a gas station. Nigga, what Nas invested in? Yeah, that part. So after Nas starts selling the liquor, boom, unlimited wealth for Nas. We already talked about the liquor. This Diddy story starts with liquor, right? Spirits. And we go back to Ice Cube. Nas was talking about Ice Cube and the guys like Ice Cube and Billy D. Williams when he was making his declaration that he wouldn't sell the liquor. But guess what? you gotta sell the liquor, nigga. That's how Ice Cube got his green light. Ice Cube was the poster child for St. Ides for a long time. Ice Cube was the malt liquor guy. When Ice Cube did Boys in the Hood, that was everything right there. That laid it all the way out. The real guys in the neighborhood, 40-ounce malt liquor, period. If it ain't 40-ounce malt liquor, then you a goofball. We don't know what you're doing. You're a goofball. You're not a man. You don't pass rites of passage. Rites of passage is right here. Starts with the malt liquor. Now, once you get drunk off this malt liquor, now you can grab you a knife or a gun, and then you can really become a man. Like, yeah. I'm just saying, let's have some of this tea. Pull of that blue magic in there. Bro, well, listen. I would love to say this shit is fake, but I literally am a victim of this shit. And all my people, like, we literally was like, oh, yo, we on that Ice Cube. Like, yo, yeah, we on that Boys in the Hood. And we was watching the movie like multiple times and all that, over and over and over. We didn't stop watching Boys in the Hood till years later when Menace to Society came out. And then we was watching that. Like, and Ice Cube was the blueprint for that new level of violence to take over. And every city in America where Black folks is at, we know that Menace to Society, the movie, increased the crime rate. Because when Menace to Society came out, check this out. Menace to Society increased the crime rate so crazy that you couldn't even get through the goddamn movie without shit popping off. Menace to Society, people was getting shot inside and outside the movie theater. Like, you couldn't even get back to the neighborhood. Period. Old Dog had us go crazy. Old Dog. OD. You OD on drugs. Wakey, wakey. $20 years later, no one really blinked an eye when poet Sonia Sanchez and Eric Benet used smooth R&B to hawk for an automobile maker. As R&B began to be viewed as the quintessence of upscale Blackness, the more grittier aspects of Black pop music, that which was Houston Baker Jr. describes it, too blackly public. Too blackly public. As in embarrassing, like Black folk eating watermelon in public. Wow. This began to disappear from the program list of some urban radio outlets in the 70s. So-called Southern Soul, ZZ Hills, Denise LaSalle's, Betty Wright's. Now, mind you, remember, 73, reggae and rap jump on the scene. So all this tampering is going on with the jazz and the R&B. We just went ahead and gave them up. Listen, that's what we did. We basically just turned it over, because if you go back to the history of all these music genres, you see Black folks there, right? But once they start going too crazy with something, what we normally do is just go, all right, cool, that's yours. We just gonna do something else over here. So here's rock and roll. This is, this is us. No, we started with the boy bands. The the boy bands, we started that with the guys singing on the corner. I forgot what that was called, like the little quartets and all that. They grabbed that. All right, y'all can have that. Grab rock and roll, no problem. Y'all can have that. Grab jazz, no problem. Kenny G it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, do y'all thing over there. We just gonna keep on creating. So we'll go over here, and now we'll start rap and we'll start reggae. So while y'all doing all this Harvard, it's all kind of complicated. Look at this shit. Look at all this money. These niggas got Harvard. And y'all talking about drawing up a play. Nigga, these is the scams of the century. Y'all talking about who's scamming. Nigga, this is scamming. This is this. So just know, when they talk about the 70s, what's cooking in the background. So as they're stealing the R and the rhythm and blues, we're already cooking up the next shit. So we already like letting them have that. We going on to something else.
So-called Southern soul, blah, 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 was an example of the kind of music that vanished from urban radio. Though Southern soul didn't disappear, labels like Malaco and Ichiban continue to promote Southern soul artists to this day. The more bluesier aspects of its sound and its references to Black Southern culture were the very antithesis of the post-civil rights worldviews of many African Americans. The popped over P-Funk of Rick James, one of the best-selling Black artists at the beginning of the post-soul era, was emblematic of the brave new world of R&B, right? So Rick James coming in with cocaine and wild sex and all that, right? Just be mindful. This post-soul era, Rick James ushers in with cocaine, right? So Rick James is now coming in and he's attracted my dad and all them. The same way I'm telling y'all, as transparent as possible, that Ice Cube with the malt liquor had us in the 80s. I could tell you that Cheech and Chong and them, because my mother told me, Cheech and Chong and them introduced her generation to smoking weed. And Ron O'Neal, Superfly, had my pops in them generation. He introduced them all to cocaine and heroin, right? So that's what Rick James came in. Rick James came in to be the soundtrack of the Superfly era. You know what I'm saying? Without the soul in the way. Because you still had guys doing certain stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you still had certain wild instances with people's dad. Like, what kind of demonic... How does your dad, who's a preacher, how does your dad, who's a preacher, kill you then kill himself? Think about that. Now, type in the chat. Which artist is that? Which artist was killed by his dad, who's a preacher? Come on now. Somebody type into the chat. Which artist was killed by his dad that was also a preacher or minister or something? Come on. Clean me up where I'm wrong. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Yes, that's what that music was called, the doo-wop. The doo-wop was the early precursor for a lot of the hip-hop. And guess what? DJ doo-wop was one of the early DJs that pioneered the mixtape scene that I don't know what happened to doo-wop when it went big, but doo-wop was supposed to be big, like how you got DJ Drama, K-Slay and all that. Doo-wop was supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? But there you go. Come on. So how does that happen? How does that happen to the most prolific singer and songwriter of soul music in his time? The obvious is true. It's because he was the most prolific writer of singer and soul music at that time. Nigga, we got to get you up out of here. We need the Rick James shit. We need that cocaine. Yeah, we need that cocaine to come on in. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. We need to, yeah. Okay. So Rick James comes in late 70s, blah, blah, blah. The challenge for the record labels was to come up with the product to feed the R&B machine. The Harvard report was adamant that Columbia Records Group should not attempt to purchase any of the prominent soul labels, right? The prominent soul labels, Motown, Atlantic, and Stax, okay? The Harvard report was adamant that Columbia Records should not attempt to get these labels, okay? Or poach from them any of their established artists. CRG, Columbia Records Group, eventually went right on ahead and purchased Stax. What the report did advise was that CRG cultivate relationships with small independent labels, as was the case when CRG began a relationship with Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff. Gamble and Huff. Interesting. So Gamble and Huff was backed by Columbia, who's being run by Clive Davis, aka Puff Daddy's mentor. If you don't know who Gamble and Huff is, I know you under 30. It's all right. The product was Philadelphia International Records, and the impact of this groundbreaking relationship continues to reverberate 33 years later. As some critics, notably John A. Jackson in A House of Fire, The Rise and Fall of Philadelphia Soul, have observed, Many of the Harvard report suggestions were already in play at Columbia. And the relationship with PIR is such an example. This brings us back to Puffy's stepdaddy, Puffy's adopted father. That's Big Bro. That's Puffy uncle, right? Good old Clive, the point person on both the PIR and Stax deals. So he's literally the one that closes these deals. Dismissed from Columbia is 1973 for financial irregularities. Some have linked his dismissal to our jumble word for the day, alopecia. Davis had nonetheless instigated the distribution and creative resource relationship with PIR that will become the defining model for relationships between large corporate labels and Black music. Okay? So let's recap this, because this is one of those sentences. Okay? Let's pay super close attention here. I'm going to assume that this is a typo right here, where they said dismissed from Columbia is 1973. I'm going to assume from context that this should be in, right? Yeah, I know I got mad typos in my books. Don't judge me and don't judge this author. Just stick with the knowledge and the information, okay? So dismissed from Columbia in 1973 for financial irregularities, Davis nonetheless instigated the distribution and creative resource relationship with PIR that would become the defining model for relationships between large corporate labels and Black music, making Davis himself arguably the most prominent figure in the story of R&B. Now, if we had not already went through a little timeline convo, and you didn't know that 1973 just happened to be the year that rap busts on the scene of these labels, and just so happened to be the year reggae busts on the scene for these labels, you wouldn't be able to grasp the significance of that also being the year that Clive Davis set up the infrastructure for big companies to back smaller companies and then become a free agent himself so that he could go out and start his own labels and basically do everything that the report detailed. Hint, hint, wink, wink. The language that the Harvard report uses to describe the value of indie soul labels is indisputable. These small independents could provide a source of product in the form of hot masters, talent which could have national potential. Hot masters. Wait, let's read that again. These small independents could provide a source of product. A source of product. That is awesome. In the form of hot masters. So not music, not dancers. Hot masters. I told y'all, the record business and the recording business is a word game. I told y'all. You think this is the record business. This is not the record business. This is the recording business. It's not the record business. It's the record business. Right? It's the same word, but it has two meanings. It's going to have one meaning to this group and another meaning to this group. So the group that's the talent, the ones that do all the work and somehow wind up with almost none of the money, well, they think it's a record business. So they think that you make money by making hit records. Again, remember, the music business, what we know of as the music business, starts off with what? Tech companies that have merged to banks. So banks finance the techs, and the tech is what is the money. The tech is the money. What happens to you when you get a budget from a record label? Say, for instance, you get 100,000 or $1 million, whatever the budget is.
Where is that budget expected to go? Well, that budget is expected to go 90% back to the record label. Because you're not supposed to know that the record label is the studio where they send you to record. So when you go to this record label or that record label, they have relationships with certain studios. So that all that money can come right back around. So remember, they're just loaning you money, right, to record your electromagnetic signature, right, in the form of your image and likeness, and they own it. So the actual generating of the money literally comes from your soul. So your soul is not about doing no homosexual act or no sacrificing no kids or going to Bohemian Grove or none of that goofy shit. It's recording. It's being on the camera like this. It's your voice. It's your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences. That is the essence of your soul. The weighing of the heart ceremony. That's literally the weighing of the heart ceremony. The weighing of the heart ceremony, your heart, right, generates the body's magnetic field. The feather generates electricity. Electricity is stored in a magnetic field as information. That's why we have hard drives and black strips on the back of our credit cards and shit like that. Right? The magnetic field generated by your heart is what's being weighed, because the heart, the field generated by the heart, is where all of your life experiences are stored. So the weighing of the heart ceremony is about judging what you've done throughout your life, because it's all recorded in that magnetic field. Yeah, they need to turn that song on again. I don't think you niggas see. This is why you got to go to Amazon and get the books. This is why I put this in books. Because there's a part of this that's a gossipy sort of, enticing. Oh, Clive Davis and Puffy and Whitney and da-da-da. But then there's another part of this which has very much to do with your soul. And do understand that your soul is the intelligence behind your immune system. When they say keep niggas dumb, I want y'all to tell me what y'all think that means. Because I think that most people believe that when they say they keeping niggas dumb or keep, hide stuff in books, I think that y'all believe that they're keeping like money secrets away from you. Oh, they're keeping secrets of how to make money. Are you niggas insane? Everybody knows how to. We make like in the world today, there's like, I think in America alone, there's like 1,500 new millionaires created every day. That's not what creates. We got work to do. Okay, go to Amazon and get the book. Go to Amazon. Let me show y'all the book again, because you niggas may not know what book we're talking about. Let's find the book cover. Where's the book cover? Go to Amazon and get the book. Let me show y'all the book. Y'all have to go get the book. Y'all need this work in y'all life. Need it in my life. I need it in my life. I'm telling you, there's too much shit. Go to Amazon and go get that. Oh, that would have been better. What I should have did was went to Amazon with y'all. Let's go to Amazon. Come on. Let's go together. What is this? We're not even going to look at this. We're not even going to look at this. Relax. We're not even going to look at that. Are Italians Germanic? Do that on your time. Do that on your time. Are Italians Germanic?
Go to Amazon and get that book. Yeah, you need that. Go get that. Okay. All right. Now we can get back to the work. Let me see. Okay. Davis has claimed that he never read the report, though it's clear that he would have been the key figures of that. The authors would have literally, he was the president of the label that commissioned it. So we don't have to even waste our time with that. Regardless of the source, what the report details is the blueprint for the Black Boutique label, essentially based on a model of neo-colonialism where an imperialist power exploits the raw material and talent of its satellites under the pretense that such satellites are autonomous. Translation: this was the blueprint for pretending that these guys actually own businesses when they do not. Right? Just like the whole what? Reason that we're here. Because Puffy was masquerading around as if he owned Ciroc. But he did not own Ciroc. He was just a face, a brand ambassador. That's all these guys are. Baby didn't sign no real record deal. Baby's a brand ambassador for Universal in the South. Get it? Bad Boy was a brand ambassador for Arista. You understand? Rockefeller was a brand ambassador for Universal, which is the reason why Dame damn near went crazy over there, because he really thought that he was like, yeah, who's doing these meetings without me? Like, nigga, you are not that important over here. What is wrong with you? Dame thought he was controlling shit over there. You know what I'm saying? And he really wasn't. You know what I'm saying? He really wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. Dame was way ahead of his time, sure, with his ideas and all that, but he should have used his information differently. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't. He should have understood. He wasn't good at reading the room. He was great at making the room read him, but not so good at being able to just blend into the room and read what's going on there. Or he would have knew that Jay-Z had already figured out who's who and was deciding to go with the actual bosses, because the actual bosses rewarded him with all his masters, except for the Reasonable Doubt, which is why they're still in court right now, this minute, fighting over that. These are only facts, family. All right. So we can just scroll down and skip through some of this, man. We could skip through some of this. Okay. We could skip through. Okay. There's no denying the blueprint he laid out at Columbia became the most bankable strategy for R&B as he essentially ascended to the leadership of Arista. For example, the most significant and successful Black boutique label of the 90s, LaFace and Bad Boy Entertainment were developed in where? Huh? Now, do you want to know the blueprint that Puffy's following from Clive? Because we seen the blueprint, right? What's the blueprint? Someone dies, somebody rises. Somebody rises, somebody falls. Right? That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Right? Whitney Houston. Let's just throw Whitney Houston out there. Let's look up Whitney Houston stuff. Let's just look it up to see what went on with Whitney. Let's just check this out real quick. Let's go over here. Come on, switch over here. Okay. Wait, are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? No. Okay. Can y'all still see it like this? No? Okay, I put it like this. Okay. Whitney Houston death. How did this happen? I want to see what the Whitney Houston died February 11th, 2012, the day before the Grammy Awards, when she accidentally drowned in a hotel room, left behind her daughter, Bobby Christina, who would die 3 years later at the age of 22. Those are some crazy numbers right there. Yeah, just in case you don't know, those are some crazy numbers right there. But we're not doing no gematria stuff right now. Okay, so how did Whitney Houston die? It was ruled an accidental drowning with heart disease and cocaine use. Okay, so let's just make sure that we, cocaine use. And also, just in case you didn't know, whatever black actually means, this can always be added to your death. That could always be added. See, once this thing is attributed to you, it could always be added. So because I'm black, I could die tomorrow and easily they could say complications of diabetes and heart disease. And then y'all gonna go crazy and tear the world up and say, nigga, we know goddamn well that EnQi ain't died from. But y'all gonna be so small in those voices that when the world overpowers you and say, no, he was a black man close to 50, trust me. I know y'all want to think it was a conspiracy, but I'm just saying. We've been watching this over and over and over and over, right? Okay. Now, there was water found in her lungs that indicate to us that she was alive when she was submerged underwater. Usually that sort of thing happens when somebody is pushing your head down into the water and you trying to get out of it. I'm just saying, that's also a thing that happens. Not going to contradict the scientific findings here, but I'm just saying, there's also a possibility that somebody was like, bitch, you ain't going to see the Grammys tomorrow night. I don't know. So there's that. And this story was edited, oddly enough, this year. That's also significant, right? Let's see if we can find one that was not so edited. Does anybody have an original one? Okay, this was not. Let's see what this says. Details of Whitney Houston's February 11th death provide a clearer picture. 42 page. Okay, they're reading the same script. A small spoon with white crystal substance in it and a rolled up piece of white paper were found in the bathroom where Houston died, according to the coroner's report. Such items are used to snort cocaine. Some people use a spoon for cocaine administration. Cocaine administration? Administration is the vocabulary. These days, it's likely around for meth, which was not found at the scene, according to the investigators. So likely as an inhalation tool. Drug use. Reports of cocaine and prescription medications were in her system. Both the initial and final report stated the blood tests indicate that she smoked marijuana within 2 weeks before her death. Marijuana is legal in California. It's used for medicinal purposes. So now we get another piece of information that was not in the edited story that we just read. This one has pills, prescription medications, and cocaine were found in her system. See, that definitely adds more detail. Forensic toxicologist Bruce Goldberger said the details about her blood from the toxicology report indicate that she was acutely intoxicated from cocaine at the time of her death and was a repeat cocaine user. A plethora of prescription medication bottles were found in the room, according to the final report. The report lists a total of 12 different medications, including anti-anxiety, Xanny. Oh, she had some Xanny. She had a couple Xanny bars. Whitney had some Xanny bars up in there. But wait a minute. They described the level of prescription drugs in her system as mild and said the Xannies did not contribute to her death. I'm telling you, drug addicts, they know their drugs of choice better than anything else. So anyway, this is amazing. This is Clive Davis' biggest artist that he ever had. Okay, so I want y'all to add, just keep that in mind. So the missing items found a room in Houston's purse contained her wallet, but the descendant's driver's license had been removed from the wallet, which was inside the purse prior to my arrival. As prior to my arrival, the majority of the descendants' prescription medication bottles had been removed from a brown bag that was on top of the table in the southeast corner of the living room, and then placed on top of that same table, the report reads. It has been determined that no foul play was involved in the thing. What? Is that crazy? They just followed 2 paragraphs of potential foul play with the sentence that there was no foul play. How is there items that's stolen from the crime scene, particularly ID and drugs? Are you kidding? It's unclear how many plastic surgeries she underwent. Okay, so now they're throwing plastic surgery under the bus. Okay, so here's the thing. Nowhere in this article is the name of one Clive Davis. Okay, so there's that. All right, so we'll let that happen. Now let's just look up Whitney over here. Just in case y'all don't know who Whitney was. Y'all might not know. Whitney Houston was an American singer, actress, film producer, and philanthropist known as what? Who was Whitney Houston? What did we start this thing off with? What are the ancient Black traditions surrounding the voice again? What is the voice? Your connection to God. Keep that in your mind. Because all of you people running around here reading the Bible worshiping, hating the Bible, debating the Bible, it's amazing that you got so many people that are studying the Bible because they love it or because they hate it, and they all have this blind spot that messes me up, which is why I have to continuously remind you niggas that God is music. And like, EnQi, you're crazy. Okay, just go through the Bible and read the Bible. And the Bible will tell you that there is only one acceptable form of communication for humans and God. Now, this is according to the Bible. According to the Bible, the only way a human can communicate through God to God is by singing. I didn't write the Bible. You go look it up. Go look it up. Debunk it. Go debunk it. Go look in the Bible. If you're not dreaming, right, having some sort of vision, right, unconscious vision or something, the only way to consciously communicate with God is by singing, and forget about it. If you go to the Quran is worse. You literally are supposed to sing every verse. Like the Quran is a song. The Quran is damn near a song. When you hear them people, when you hear the prayer is song, the verse, the sunnah, that's why in the Muslim tradition, you can't even make no
Muslims can't make no rap music. All these rappers that's converting to be Muslims, that's fake. Listen, that's all fake. From Little Durk, and much respect to his movement and their muscle and all that, but them niggas ain't Muslim. None of them is Muslim. All these niggas from Philadelphia. I used to live in Philly. Philly is a very Muslim city. I don't know how these Muslim niggas, with all that time studying the Quran, figured that rap music was their way out of the hood. Rap music is not sanctioned by Islam or the. You can't use the Quran to do all that crazy shit. That's hell no. All that's illegal as an actual Muslim. But if you're just pretending, like if you're just a culture vulture, like you're pretending to be Muslim, you're doing the prayers and all that, but you don't follow the dietary discipline, nor do you actually follow the laws that's supposed to govern your life, because you cannot be a Muslim and a rapper. That's not debatable. I'm not a Muslim, so I can rap all the fuck I want. I'm not a Muslim. You cannot claim to be a Muslim and be a rapper, though. That's just what that is. Wrestle with that, deal with that, go take that shit up with your imam. Your imam might lie to you because you sliding them a few dollars. See, rappers come through with that rap money, everybody be happy. You go by the laws of Islam, you cannot rap. But the only way the Bible says that you can communicate with God is the voice, period. And the voice should be guiding your movement. And so dance is also like a secondary form of communication with God, or a way to accentuate the main format of communicating with God. So understand, once again, we could take this to a science space and deal with your electromagnetic signature that makes you unique. Or we could get into the Quran or some biblical shit, but all roads lead to Wakanda. They all say the same thing. This is why even early throughout all this R&B shit going on, you had a lot of families that was arguing with their kids, which circles us back around to Marvin Gaye. Because none of these families that was in the church approved of their kids signing these fucking contracts and selling their image and likeness to use their voice for sex, drugs, and entertainment, especially when they wasn't going to wind up getting none of the goddamn money. What are you doing? You're just promoting satanic pure fuckery just for the hell of it. You can't even turn around and say you did this to change your community, because you're not. So remember, Whitney Houston is the epitome of the voice. That's who Whitney is. And whose artist is Whitney? Clive Davis. And what happens after Whitney dies? Oh, you know how much money they made off Whitney that next few months, that first 90 days? Oh, you know how much money they got off Michael Jackson when Michael Jackson died? The next day, the whole Beatles shit went on. Okay. Anyway, let's focus. Right? Let's focus. Let's pay attention. Let's go here. Let's keep strolling. Whitney Houston began singing where? At the church. Where? In Jersey, the northeast part of the country, where the only place that quote unquote black people are allowed to be educated. You can't be educated nowhere else in America if you're black except for the northeast part of the country. Remember, the West Coast is for savages, the lawless niggas, and the South is for the obedient niggas. Okay? The South is Democrat. That's the pro-slave folks. In case y'all are confused, because it's almost November, so they dancing this lady in front of you that's supposed to be you. Niggas better remember, the Democrats was the pro-slavery folks. The Republicans from the North was the anti-slavery folks, even though they had some other ideas on how to put your ass to work, but just in context. Anti-slavery Republicans, Pro-slavery Democrats. So you niggas going out there and try to figure out why it all still makes sense. What did Biden do? What are Biden's contributions? Let's think as a Democrat. What did Biden do? Okay. 93 crime bill. What did the 93 crime bill? Increase the prison population. What is the law in America? Slavery has been abolished except for the convicted felon. So it makes sense that a Democrat does what? Increases the slave population. So there's Biden. Now let's fast forward. Biden, that's Biden as a senator or something. He's not even crazy. He ain't even superpower yet. Now, what does Biden do as the president of the country? Well, you can't just put everybody in jail. So what does he do? He just puts everybody under inflation. So now he puts everybody in slavery. Well, what do you mean, Doc? Because we're still free. Yes, you're still free, but you have to work 2 to 3 times as hard to substantiate the same living that you had 4 years ago. See, that's how you put the whip on niggas' back. Pow! No, your life ain't gonna get no better. And yes, we're gonna put your ass to work. We need you to work harder for the same shit you've been getting. And soon as you get tired of Biden, we getting ready to dangle this black lady in front of you that's questionably black. So again, we gotta ask, what the hell is this black thing again? What is this black thing again? Because they're getting ready to lead us back into more slavery. Because when they asked Kamala, would she do anything different in her program than Biden been doing in his program, she said no. Y'all niggas better wake up. I think niggas still sleep in the back. It's all right. Whitney Houston came out the church. She was one of the first black women to appear on the cover of 17 after becoming a teen model in 81. So she went through that window. Look, she was a teen model in 81. Right? So when y'all want to know where all these PDF files is coming from, remember, I told y'all, Hugh Hefner had Brooke Shields naked in Playboy magazines at 10 years old. So that's the era. They coming out that era in the 70s and 80s where they over-sexualize kids. Whitney Houston's one of them. She's a teen model. She's a teen model. Models sell sex. She's a kid selling sex. I need y'all to wake up in the back. Just, yeah, right back, all the way in the back there. You niggas wake up, hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Y'all can't get this level of information and not hit the Cash App. That's just disgusting. Okay, that's just disgusting. The universe is going to make it right. So don't let the universe rob you to pay me. Don't let me and the universe be Peter and Paul. Okay, hit the Cash App. Now, with the guidance of what? Arista Records, Chairman Clive Davis, Whitney Houston signed to the label at age 19. Her first 2 albums in 1985 and 87 both peaked at #1 on the Billboard and are among the best-selling albums of all time. So what does that mean? If they're among the best-selling albums of all time, then these were the best-selling albums of her time. Okay. So let's just take a break right now. I want y'all to take a break right now. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back. We're going to come back with some a groundbreaking revelation. We're going to come back with a groundbreaking revelation. Peace and blessings out there to everybody. My name is Dr. EnQi, the founder of the Melanin versus Diabetes movement and ministry. Our goal is to fight diabetes by creating a biochemically literate society, one book at a time, one person at a time, one household at a time. Join us now by going to Amazon.com and getting all of the books. Getting all of the books that you can afford.
I don't even know if this is man real daughter.
What?
I don't even know. I don't know nothing about this. I have no comment to make, but I know a lot of y'all know about this.
What?
Is this R. Kelly's daughter? And do y'all believe her? What? Do y'all believe that R. Kelly touched on his own daughter?
For no fame. There's a brother out there, his page is the number 4, the word no, and then the word fame all together. He does content like this, but I think the brother could benefit from my books.
Here's Marquavius Nichols on the left and Shannon Stillwell, arrested for the murder of Shamel Drinks. Harvey isn't there to argue body cam of the arrest.
Yeah, he's pulling out to Cleveland Avenue exit. All right, he's making a right turn westbound on Cleveland Avenue.
Okay, the unit has a westbound on Cleveland.
And again, so everybody knows it's a white four-door Audi.
So Shannon and Nichols just got out of the car. They're obviously being chased by police. And when they pull up to this house, whatever house they're at, apparently in the backyard, they run to the backyard, a goat sacrifice is happening. And I think apparently it's a religious thing. I don't know much about that, but so the body cam probably shows that.
What? YSL members, allegedly did a hit. Then when they, escaping or whatever, the helicopters following them, and I guess either they escaped to this house, or I guess maybe they're saying that there's a random and they were just driving to get away and they just randomly pulled up at this house. But what are the odds that they wind up with a goat sacrifice going on? Like they're getting arrested with a goat sacrifice. After they just did a sacrifice, they wind up going to a sacrifice. You have got to be kidding me. You just cannot make this up. You just cannot make this up. Okay? And as a Haitian, I'm going to say there are spots and spaces where maybe you shouldn't jump to a conclusion when you see something like this going on. But for
And in the entertainment, I always felt bad for years that men just don't come around female performers. You don't get an opportunity to meet them. And that's pretty sad, which is why I've concentrated on my work. And in the entertainment field, where blacks generate billions of dollars, we don't often get the opportunity to reap the benefits from that money.
There was this sort of party where apparently half the room were in tears, the other half were kind of partying. What did you feel about that?
I thought that was complete insanity.
Phyllis Hyman was a true icon in the music industry, yet it's disheartening how easily she's forgotten. She fearlessly stood for the principle that women should not tolerate any nonsense from anyone.
If I had known what it was going to be like, I never would have gone into it. It's much harder. The sacrifices are much more extensive.
However, her journey in the industry was riddled with difficulties. Despite her incredible talent and success, there were numerous challenges and hardships behind the scenes that often go unnoticed.
I like to be bound by my word, and those people who have worked with me over the years know that my word is my bond, and I don't go back on that.
It suggested that she had insights into the inner workings of the industry, possibly shared by Clive Davis. And she tried to caution Whitney Houston about it, which may have contributed to the struggles in her own life.
That's called extreme highs and extreme lows, and there is no middle for me. It has to be something that has to be worked on.
Phyllis Hyman's voice in Living All Alone really tugs at your heartstrings. It's one of those songs that stays with you forever. Her career, it's stretched across decades, yet it feels like it ended far too soon. She was undeniably a radiant talent, but she encountered significant personal and professional hurdles. As a Black woman in the music industry, her journey was even more challenging. Consider Whitney.
Now, as you listening to this, I want you to keep in mind, Phyllis Hyman is the artist that Clive Davis has right before Whitney. So as you listen to this story of Phyllis Hyman, I want you to just play this mental game where you take the report and you switch out the name. And when you hear this shit sound exactly the same, oh, the ups and downs and the battle with the drugs, and they found her unresponsive with the cocaine, blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying. You might believe in coincidence. I don't necessarily believe in coincidences. So it's a huge coincidence that the #1 singer in the world signs to the same guy twice and ends up the exact same way. I'm just saying, that's a hell of a coincidence.
Whitney Houston grappling with her own struggles in the public eye. Phyllis faced similar battles, yet the industry didn't give her the support she deserved.
A lot of emotional ups and downs. As I said earlier, I have begun the process of recovery, so to speak, just trying to feel better about myself.
Phyllis Hyman's mental health suffered greatly, and it's truly heartbreaking. She found herself trapped in a cycle of self-sabotage and self-doubt until the weight became unbearable. However, despite her struggles, she left behind an extraordinary musical legacy. Yet it's disheartening how she's often overlooked when people discuss greats like Whitney, Patti LaBelle, and Aretha Franklin.
That's called extreme highs and extreme lows, and there is no middle for me. It has to be something that has to be worked on.
Phyllis Linda Hyman was born on June 6, 1946, the eldest of 7 siblings raised in the vibrant neighborhood of St. Clair Village on the south side of Pittsburgh. Her father, a World War II veteran, and her mother, who worked as a waitress at a local nightclub, provided the backdrop for her upbringing. Growing up in St. Clair Village, nestled in the South Hills section of Pittsburgh, Phyllis's musical journey began with formal training at a music school after leaving her hometown. Following her graduation, she embarked on a national tour with the group New Direction in 1971. After the group disbanded, she joined All the People and collaborated with another local group, the Hondo Beat. Phyllis even made an appearance in the film Lenny in 1974. Right from the beginning, Phyllis stood out with her incredible voice, a true standout talent. She honed her skills singing in the choir at Carrick High School, where her music teacher, Dave Tamburi, recognized her exceptional talent and arranged private voice lessons to nurture her gift. After graduating, Phyllis Hyman earned a music scholarship to Robert Morris College, becoming its first recipient. However, after just 1 year, she made the bold decision to leave college and fully pursue her musical aspirations. During those formative years, Phyllis immersed herself in the vibrant music scene, exploring different bands and groups. She formed a trio called Sound of Ebony, dedicated to using music as a tool for social consciousness. Later, she joined a jazz sextet named New Directions.
It's time to wake people.
Yo, and that's when the ad comes in. Yo, that's just so, like, notice that's a constant repeating thing too. They always trying to come in with the music to uplift some sort of conscious. They always coming in with that, but it never works out that way. Hold on, we got to bring that back so y'all make sure y'all heard that part. She formed her group and it was on some other shit.
Hyman earned a music scholarship to Robert Morris College, becoming its first recipient. However, after just 1 year, she made the bold decision to leave college and fully pursue her musical aspirations. During those formative years, Phyllis immersed herself in the vibrant music scene, exploring different bands and groups. She formed a trio called Sound of Ebony, dedicated to using music as a tool for social consciousness. Later, she joined a jazz sextet named New Directions, where she truly honed her skills. Standing tall at 6 feet with a striking presence, Phyllis was a commanding figure in any room she entered. Known for her humor, boldness, outgoing nature, and quick wit, her charm and banter were as captivating as her singing talents. Once she stepped onto the stage and opened her mouth to sing, the audience was immediately captivated. But Phyllis was always seeking new musical adventures. After her time with New Directions, she packed her bags and headed to Miami to join another band called All the People. She was always chasing the next big musical endeavor.
We were talking earlier about the packaging of artists and how they're picking up kids off the street pretty much. And producers are producing these records. These kids have little or no talent. They look right.
Settling into the bustling scene of the Big Apple, Phyllis and the PH Factory found themselves a regular gig at Russ Brown, a popular joint on the West Side known for its tasty food and killer jazz vibes. And let me tell you, the audience there, legendary. We're talking big names like Ashford and Simpson, Stevie Wonder, and even George Harrison popping in for a listen. One fateful night, jazz cat Richard Clay rolled through with none other than producer Norman Connors in tow. Connors was impressed. He promised Phyllis he'd have her in a recording studio within a week or two. Now, that's the kind of break any musicians dream of. Connors was true to his word, and before long, he had Phyllis in the studio. He had her record a cover of the Stylistics classic, Betcha By Golly Wow, putting her own soulful spin on it. But that wasn't all. Phyllis also teamed up with Michael Henderson for a duet called We Both Need Each Other, which they nailed. Seeing the success of her cover of Betcha by Golly Wow, Phyllis caught the attention of Buddha Records, and they wasted no time signing her up. In 1977, she dropped her debut album simply titled Phyllis Hyman. And let me tell you, it was fire. One of the standout tracks, Loving You, Losing You, climbed all the way to number 32 on the R&B charts, solidifying Phyllis's place in the music scene. And she wasn't done yet. Another single from the album, No One Can Love You More, also made waves, peaking at number 58. Enter Clive Davis, the big shot president of Arista Records. Now, Clive had a reputation for finding talent and shaping them into stars, but Phyllis was not about to be molded. She knew exactly who she was as an artist, and she was not about to compromise. But Clive had other ideas. He saw potential for Phyllis to cross over into mainstream success, and he wasn't backing down. He took the reins for her third album, Somewhere in My Lifetime, and even brought in heavy hitter Barry Manilow to produce the title track.
Somewhere in my lifetime.
Sure, the single reached a respectable number 12 on the R&B charts, but for Clive, that just was not cutting it. He was used to seeing his artists hitting the top 5, selling millions of records, nothing less would do. And thus began a bit of a tug of war between artistic integrity and commercial success. For her fourth album, Clive Davis decided to switch things up by bringing in R&B producers James Mattoon and Reggie Lucas. The lead single, You Know How to Love Me, dropped in October 1979 and made some serious waves, hitting number 12 on the R&B charts. And let me tell you, the album itself, it was a hit.
Our man bringing the ghostwriters.
Selling a whopping 400,000 copies, it was Phyllis's most successful record to date. Things were looking up for her personally too. She tied the knot with her longtime partner and producer Larry Alexander the year before. It seemed like everything was finally falling into place for the talented songstress. After the smash success of her fourth album, Phyllis was ready to be treated like the star she knew she was. But instead, she found herself facing pushback from the label and Clive Davis himself. She speaks very briefly but very directly how Clive Davis aided her. Quote, Clive Davis taught me to never be afraid because I was so terrorized by him. Whether he meant to do it Can't say that on public radio. What I might do to someone who tried to hurt me like that again in this business, I'm not having it. I should be respected as I respect, and I will not have someone try to ruin my spirit and ruin my career. If Clive Davis, if his plan was to destroy my career, it didn't work. It left her feeling frustrated and downright exhausted. To make matters worse, Arista started signing more female artists, including big names like Angela Bofill, Dionne Warwick, and Aretha Franklin. Suddenly, Phyllis felt like she was getting lost in the shuffle. And it wasn't just the industry stuff weighing on her. Phyllis also started experiencing mild bouts of depression. Mental health struggles were nothing new to her. The pressure of fame was starting to take its toll, but then a glimmer of hope appeared. While singing at a local jazz club, she caught the eye of the arranger for the musical Sophisticated Ladies, a celebration of Duke Ellington's work. Phyllis auditioned and snagged the role of Etta. Now, Clive was not too thrilled about her venturing into Broadway territory, but Phyllis was not about to back down.
Are you singing? Are you swinging? They are dancing.
She saw this as an opportunity to showcase her talents in a whole new way and connect with a fresh audience. It was a battle she was determined to win.
I just can't let go. I can't say, here, girls, you got it. That's just not my nature. I have also been burned in the past, letting other people do that.
In the midst of her Broadway triumph, Phyllis did not miss a beat. She dropped her fifth album, and it was like a breath of fresh air for her. Clive Davis brought back Norman Connors for this one, and the result was pure gold. The album, titled Can't We Fall in Love Again, hit its peak at number 12, and the title track, a duet with Michael Henderson, even reached number 9 on the R&B charts. Phyllis's first top 10 hit. It was a momentous achievement for her, no doubt. But even amidst her success, Phyllis was still feeling dissatisfied with the direction her label wanted to take. There was just so much pressure to churn out commercial hits, and it often led to clashes over creative control. Phyllis wanted to work with the musicians and producers of her choosing, while Davis was all about bringing in hitmakers. Luster number 20. As the battles between Clive and Phyllis raged on behind the scenes, it became increasingly clear that they were at odds with each other. Phyllis resisted Clive's attempts to mold her into his vision of the next big thing. After all, she had spent years honing her craft and knew exactly who she was as an artist. But Clive couldn't seem to see the talent right in front of him. He failed to understand the deep connection R&B and jazz had to the Black community.
Here we go. Keep in mind, they already told you what her ideas were with the music. She was coming in with her consciousness shit. Clive coming in with his sex program, and they beefing. He want her to sex it up. And she like, nah, we on, we keeping it here. Clive like, nah, keep it there, right? So that's the battle. Upstairs versus downstairs. Just keep that in mind.
Instead, opting to whitewash his Black artist. But Clive couldn't seem to see the talent right in front of him. He failed to understand the deep connection R&B and jazz had to the Black community, instead opting to whitewash his Black artists.
I I like getting older. I like the wrinkles. I like sometimes the extra dimples that you have. You know, I like that. You know.
Phyllis's new managers, Glenda and Sydney, tried their best to mend the fractured relationship between her and Clive. However, Clive had set his sights on a new focus, a rising star named Whitney Houston. Arista made the heartbreaking decision to drop Phyllis from her record deal, leaving her to navigate an uncertain future in the music industry. But that was where Clive also started dominating Whitney as well. Clive Davis is a highly influential figure in the music industry, renowned for his immense power and track record of success. He notably launched Arista Records, where he signed numerous major black acts, showcasing his talent for spotting musical potential. His roster of signed artists is impressive and includes Patti Smith, The Outlaws, Eric Carmen, Expose, Ace of Base, Air Supply, Dionne Warwick, Ray Parker and Radio, Aretha Franklin, and Alicia Keys. Davis also played a key role in giving Puff Daddy, Puffy, his start in establishing Bad Boy Records. However, his most significant success came from discovering and nurturing Whitney Houston's career.
Picture was inescapable. There were two times, one live where she came to my home, where we had a personal, intimate conversation.
Astounded by Houston's exceptional singing talent and her wholesome image, Clive recognized the opportunity to launch her into superstardom. This move not
by her wholesome image. Just keep listening to these terms. I mean, they go by so fast you might not catch it. Let's catch the wholesome image.
Where she came to my home, where we had a personal, intimate conversation.
Astounded by Houston's exceptional singing talent and her wholesome image, Clive recognized the opportunity to launch her into superstardom. This move not only greatly benefited Whitney, but also significantly boosted Clive Davis's net worth, reportedly reaching close to $800 million. However, as Whitney Houston navigated the complexities of the music industry, she, like many others, began to
I think Lil Wayne said it the best, right? A milli. And then he came back with the remix, right? A billy. A million here, a million there. Chicks with long Indian hair with coconut derriere. Yo, my man put that. Huh? Listen, I just need y'all to use. Hold on. I need y'all to understand this. Use your minds. Now, think about this. Most of us watching this, we come out of the ghetto somewhere, right? In the Bronx, I have seen people kill and attempt to kill people for less than $20. Let's do what I'm saying. If you're from cities, you either saw this, you've been around this. And when I say saw, this is in the neighborhood. This is, you know, you hear about when you on your way coming home from school, you hear about what happened yesterday across the street at the, you know, like this is common. When y'all see all this violence and stuff on TV, like a lot of these guys on the internet talking about they came from jail and blah, blah, blah. Some of these niggas is in jail for robbing and killing people for like $500 or something, $200-300 sometimes. Like it's, so you got to understand, if you come from an environment where you understand that people will kill you for $50, $100, $1,000, what do you think niggas are doing for $800 million? Are you insane? When $800 million is the number, the question doesn't become if you, it just becomes who. Who needs to die for me to get $1 billion? And then you start to have the other conversations and you go, well, you are trafficking souls. You're purchasing souls. Right? So you're purchasing and selling souls. When you're purchasing and selling something, literally the term that you use is trafficking, right? So if you're a person that likes comic books, you traffic comic books. You buy them, you sell them, you trade them, you keep them. That's trafficking. So if you're into buying, selling, storing, and selling, you know, souls, you're trafficking souls, right? We're just gonna go back to the video.
to notice peculiar and unsettling occurrences. In her 2002 interview with Diane Sawyer, she openly addressed the challenges she faced and the personal struggles she battled. Shedding light on the darker aspects of the industry, Whitney appeared uneasy and cautious at times, revealing that she felt a sense of inner conflict and acknowledged struggles with personal demons.
It was rough. It was rough. I think I kind of reverted back as I got older and said, well, I'm just going to party, you know? It was kind of a rebel in me.
During her interview, Whitney Houston discussed her disputes with Clive Davis and her inadvertently making herself vulnerable. Exploiting her past struggles with addiction, individuals sought to undermine her credibility and discredit her revelations. The unexpected and shocking news of her death came as...
All right, so pay attention to those coinky dinks, right? So the contract disputes, right, get to an all-time high, and then artist dies. Phyllis Hyman becomes Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston becomes Jennifer Hudson. And what happened to Jennifer Hudson? Once she signed the deal, wasn't her whole family killed or some old wild, crazy, unexplainable shit? So is that 3 times in a row? What did they say, 3 times a charm?
As a profound tragedy, especially given the circumstances surrounding it. It was a sorrowful twist of fate that deeply affected the music world. Tragically, the entertainment industry has seen many instances where artists facing the demanding nature of their work succumb to substance A. Whitney Houston was no exception. Her ongoing battle with addiction and health issues cast a shadow over her career until it reached an irreversible tipping point.
It's my heart. It's what I want and what I don't want. Nobody makes me do anything I don't.
Near Whitney Houston. Additionally, various medications, including an antidepressant, a muscle relaxant, and allergy medication, were discovered in her system during the autopsy. The coroner's report, released weeks later, attributed Houston's death to heart disease, deuse, and accidental drowning. It was also revealed that Houston had a mild case of emphysema, contributing to the gradual loss of her powerful voice. Numerous speculations about Houston's personal life emerged in films, documentaries, and biopics both before and after her death. Despite the scrutiny, Houston's musical talent and soulful voice remained unwavering. Clive Davis, on the other hand, is celebrated as a highly accomplished producer revered for nurturing diverse artists and creating enduring musical masterpieces. His innovative practices have firmly established him as a pivotal figure in shaping what met before her demise. The beginning of the saga unfolded in 2006 when Whitney Houston filed for divorce from Bobby Brown, as reported by MTV News. Their union had been marred by controversy. Popular belief, Whitney Houston's husband was not solely responsible for her struggles. Other individuals played a role in her challenges with substance A. Robin Crawford, Houston's close confidant, revealed Mr. Davis, one of the most influential figures in the recording industry. Mr. Rubino was terminated on May 25th, followed by Mr. Davis on May 29th, 1973. The lawsuit by Columbia alleged that Mr. Davis had used company funds to renovate his Central Park West apartment and to host an extravagant bar mitzvah reception.
All right, so hold on. We got Phyllis Hyman. Right? All right, so we got Phyllis Hyman. She dies in her apartment the exact same way as Whitney died in the hotel. Let's see this. Let's see if we can pull up. Phyllis Hyman suffered from bipolar depression for years, blah, blah. She often self-medicated with drugs and alcohol. She talked about suicide. Hyman died by suicide by overdosing on a mixture of Tunil and vodka, barbiturates, right? Yeah. Her suicide note said, I'm tired, I'm tired. Those of you that I love know who you are. May God bless you. Really? Okay, so there's that. All right. So let's fast forward to, let's look at this girl. Let's look at this girl. Okay, who is this lady? Let's see. Let's see what this is right here. In 2015, blah, 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 blah. Following performances on Clive Davis and Recording Academy's pre-Grammy Gala. Okay. 2016, Hudson signed with Epic Records, L.A. Reid, and Clive Davis, joining forces for the first time since Whitney Houston's Bodyguard soundtrack. So, L.A. Reid and Clive Davis come back together to work with Jennifer Hudson after last working with Whitney Houston. Okay. And let's see if we can find this tragedy. Right? So then there's this, and we're not going to go too deep into it, but yeah. It's a hell of a lot of information for an afternoon. It's dark, right? It's just dark. It's dark. What the heck is in these contracts? You know, that's a good question. The problem is not what's in the contracts. What's in the contract is straightforward. So you could read it over with your lawyer, or you could read it over yourself. How do I know? I know because I signed standard recording contracts before. Right? I got a record deal with DJ Marley Marl and Charles Fisher. So I know what a standard recording contract looks like before they invented 360s and all that. So standard recording contract. It's nothing in the contract that the problem is, again, and I got to keep saying this over and over. You do not see with your eyes or hear with your ears. You see and you hear with your mind. So if you do not understand what we're talking about with the voice, if you don't understand your soul, if you don't understand your image and likeness, if you don't understand what those things are or their value, there's nothing in the contract that you need to worry about, because the contract is just amicably distributing the profit that's going to be generated based on those things. I'm going to say that again. The contract is just basically a breakdown of how y'all going to split the money that you make from your voice, image, likeness, and soul. Right? So you're going to sign a deal to hand over your voice, image, likeness, and soul for a time period. Right? Now, that is separate from the actual soul part. The soul part, you're permanently selling over. You permanently sell that over. Those are called the masters. Those masters are the person who owns right to that electromagnetic capture recording of your soul. So you're going to filter your soul through specific subjects, etc., and we're going to capture that. Bang. Now that we contract forever. We got the masters on that. So we own that. Right? What you're going to sign is a deal to make us a certain amount of masters, but also to go out and promote. That's what you're doing. You're going to pick that cotton, right? So go and get people to get really interested in the thing that you just sold me. That's basically what your job is. Go out there and market this thing that you just sold to me. This is mine. This piece of your soul I have. Okay? So I want you to go out there and market it. And after you finish marketing it, then feel free to go out there and sign you a new contract with someone else and do that again. Or we can renegotiate and you can make me some new recordings and we'll do the same thing over and over again. But just remember, after you finish, I still keep these. I still keep these. These are the master copies of your electromagnetic signature, your soul. I got those. The image and likeness, usage thereof, blah, 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 the working, right? This is why you get a per diem. That's why you get a per diem, right? A per diem, for those that don't know. Listen, there's an extensive music industry vocabulary list that's also in the book. So in the book, people that really want to learn industry stuff, there's a very good vocabulary list in the book so that you can learn these terms. Anyway, you have per diem. Per diem is the money that comes from nowhere and goes back to nowhere. But basically, they're going to give you a few dollars every day to handle, day-to-day, your day-to-days. You can grab something to eat. You need some cocaine. You need some weed. You need some liquor. Don't worry about that. That's per diem for that. Like, wait, what did you just say, EnQi? The labels are not saying here's per diem to go buy drugs. It's not what they're doing. What they're doing is making sure that you have pocket money so that anything you should need, you can take care of. That's all. Okay. So I think we did good for the day. Yeah, I think we did good for the day. And what they tell you about Robin Williams? Robin Williams, a wild boy, right? He want to give his family a little time to, for the vultures get crazy. Shit is wild. All right, let's pray it up. Pray it up. Come on, pray it up. God bless everybody watching. Keep everybody protected and safe. Like, oh shit, EnQi's. What was that? EnQi, what the hell is going on? Y'all better stop playing. What the hell is going on? Yeah, that's the question and the answer.
The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
That's the algorithm.
The gods have blessed us. We must act now. We must act now to save us, to save our souls.
Myron! Myron!
What?
What are you doing? What you doing?
What you talking about? What am I doing?
You reading them nasty books again, right, Myron?
Man, nobody reading no nasty books, man. You scared the hell out of me. What you talking about, man? Well, I ain't did that in about 2 weeks.
You called yesterday, 2 weeks. What you reading? What you reading?
You scared the goddamn book, man. Dr. EnQi. I went on Amazon and got 3 Dr. EnQi books because I'm reading about melatonin and biochemistry.
What is, Myron, that's not even a, first of all, it's not melatonin and whatever it is that you just said. It's melanin and biochemistry. You can't even pronounce the word, so how you reading? How you reading, Myron?
That's the algorithm.
Taken from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality, they're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize? Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Is that okay? Do you forgive somebody for taking somebody's ass? There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality. They're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize?
I'm dead. This shit is epic,
because
bro.
I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Is that okay? Do you forgive somebody for taking somebody's ass? There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality. They're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you